Hello, everyone.
Don't start too quick.
And welcome. I was thinking about your all too hilarious comments before we get started. Welcome, everyone. This is Smashbox TV's podcast 119. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, along with Johnny V. And the glorious. We have not upgraded our studios in 2 years.
No, this is about it. I've upgraded my voice.
Yeah,
I went
you
with
sound like a real man now.
I went with
almost.
I went with the Barry White today. I'm getting over a cold, so
I thought that was just you were. I thought we got auto tune.
yeah.
So
I figured I'd just change the auto tune a bit, and we turn up the bass, turn down the treble.
Johnny V, I think this is pretty big. You can talk a little bit about your changes. You can talk about about the facial hair that might start coming in now.
I figured it's Movember. I figured with the facial hair is going to come the voice.
For the first time ever.
Instead, I just decided to go with I think they call it the purple drank, which is just no, it's not. It's just Captain and Coke.
Oh, you are a bad mofo. So welcome everyone again. Tonight we're here for 119th episode of our podcast. We're going to have three-time USDGC champion, and he did it in 4 rounds each time, by the way. So I don't know if that makes him more qualified. I think it does. But so
we can ask Jerm about that sometime.
Will Schusterick is going to be joining us. We appreciate Will. It was just earlier today that I had reached out to him. We're starting to talk about things are dying down just a little bit in terms of regular news, and we don't have as much action taking place every single weekend. And sometimes it doesn't just jump out as an obvious forefront who should be a featured guest of the night. And we love all of our guests. And I talked to Dana actually, and he said, "Yeah, we haven't heard from Will in a while," and I. Sold. Done. It was that easy. So catching up with him. We haven't talked to him too much on the show, so we'll be glad to do that here tonight. Also, immediately I got to send out a congrats. Katrina Allen. She's another person that we talked to her a little bit more frequently. That's why it wasn't an immediate call out to her. But she did win the Phoenix Ladies Open. I'm going to give you some more specifics and details about that whenever that time is appropriate. That might be after Will or now.
We can do it probably after Will.
Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit more specifically.
You like to tend to babble on for a while. We don't want to keep our guests waiting.
I do. I like to discuss where I was and all the amazing people that made it happen. So here comes a plug right off the bat, and I want to thank them, and I'll thank them again later. The Phoenix Ladies Open, like a number of our very notable women's events, is one of those that's been on the map. It's continued to grow. It continues to be more and more successful each passing year, and it's therefore jumped out at me as an event. I feel like I need to go see what's going on and what makes this so great. And sure enough, there's all these women that come and play. I believe there was, in fact, 80 this year. And there's amazing sponsorship for the actual event. There's a local gentleman who's a lawyer, Paul. He was, in fact, the presenting sponsor, and then they had a number of other sponsors. And then when I decided that, hey, let's find a way to make sure that we get a little coverage on this, I reached out to just a few people, and immediately I think everyone I asked said yes, so maybe I should have kept asking more. But I want to thank and recognize some people. First and foremost, the PDGA, who said, yes, we'd love to see more coverage. Sounds great. We'll help get you out there. I also reached out to Spinners on the Green. That's Keith Murray, Dan Ginley, and the rest of the amazing crew, and Ashley and everyone else. So thank you guys over at Spinners on the Green, and we'll talk about some of their promos a little bit later. I reached out to Discraft, who always works in conjunction with the Memorial and Spinners on the Green. So thank you to Bob and everything you guys are doing over there. So thank you guys for making it possible. And I want to thank Mike and Michelle Cousins of Sandy Point Resort. You hear us talk about them all the time. Johnny V and I love the place. One thing specifically I'm gonna show you guys right now. Mike has taken over all of the details for the gorgeous
micro putt
that we've seen now. Some of you guys have seen these online on Facebook.
Trophies, I've seen them before.
Yeah, there's so many different things you can do with these. I can't even give you all the details except for they're incredibly sturdy. And this was all some special cut laser something or other. It's fancy stuff. I can't even. I'm not good with all of the manufacturing terms, but this thing is pretty amazing. You're gonna see some videos with these things. People are using them for trophies. People are buying them, giving away as Christmas gifts, and you can see the size. You got a disc handy there. Well, I'll use one of these discs.
Is
just
it
to give
because
you
you have
bit
like
reference.
micro hands? People aren't sure how big.
These hands have been referred to as magic. I'm just saying. And here I'm gonna throw up a Buzz in. Size comparison, and these things are awesome. So reach out, sandypoint.com. That's sandypt.com. Mike and Michelle Cousins are now the exclusive owners and producers of these, and I've had these for years because they're awesome, and now that's kind of revived, and then they're selling those and making them available. So, yeah, Luke, I tell you, Magic Hands Miller. So all of those amazing sponsors, as well as KG, another sponsor who helped make it possible. So all of those people and entities and businesses are why I was able to get to Phoenix and cover the event, along with the disc golf, the women's disc golf outreach, and Zoe and the rest of the crew. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. You'll hear more about the event a little bit later. Awesome. Johnny, I referenced it last week. It is in fact.
Couple days after,
2 years and 4 days ago,
yep,
we had our very first podcast. How silly is that?
That is kind of silly. I saw you post something, a throwback on Facebook saying, hey, we're going to have the first disc golf call-in show.
Yes. Kinda,
yeah,
sorta.
Yeah, well, our guests call in.
Yeah, they do.
So
via Skype. I mean, we're fancy.
We are. We got this down now. Almost.
I was going to say, I don't know if I would say it quite like that.
We were on time tonight. Pretty
close.
I even jumped the gun about 20 minutes before the show, and I upgraded to our newest version of Wirecast.
Wow.
Because you saw last week we were having a weird issue with switching. That seems to be gone. So that's pretty good. Yes.
Well, it is... we're so glad to be doing what we do. We enjoy it. We hope that you're finding us out there. We know there are a number of different disc golf podcasts. We listen to a variety of them, and... for the most part, people say they don't get enough, and I'm not saying that necessarily about us, but I'm saying people want to consume as much disc golf information as possible, and they're getting a variety of people and personalities and information from all the various podcasts that are out there, and it's great to see.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be a slow winter for us.
It might be
for the next month. Once January comes by, things pick up again. This feels like a really short off season, and I think it's going to be that way for all the podcasts. I think come January, you're going to see everybody pick up again. We're going to go through the holidays, where there'll be kind of a lull. After that,
well, and I think one of the things you're going to see, I mean, we now know what to expect as we've seen the World Tour make its announcements and release its date, and there's not as much... I don't want to say ambiguity. There's just not as many questions about the World Tour because now we're a year into it. Same can be said, of course, of the Pro Tour, although it's picking up a number of new venues. So there's not as many question marks that are left out there in terms of what's new and exciting for those things. But we're going to see. Now's the time, and I said it last year. If you're switching sponsors... we'd love to hear it, and if it's a super huge announcement, and we think we should be making it on the show, or you want to release it on the show, or whatever, or picking up your very first ever sponsor, let us know. We're definitely interested. Last year, we saw a number of people that had been with Company A, and then out of nowhere went to Company C, and so on and so forth. There was a lot of just kind of switches that just took place that I would have never guessed.
No.
That I saw, and there's been some companies that have been very aggressive, and I don't know if this year, just when I think, well, no, I think a lot of people are in their place. I'm guessing there's a lot of people working on their contracts this very minute.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what happens over the next 2 months.
Yeah.
What gets announced, what big surprises there are going to be, and I don't know.
Yeah, it should be exciting, and we'll catch up with him now in just a few moments. One of the companies that made major waves and headway just a few years ago. We'll talk to Will Schusterick about that. When Prodigy came about, and it was right around this time of the year they were starting to gear things up.
Yep.
Talked in November, December. People were starting to catch a little wind of it. And then January 1st, the huge announcement was made regarding Prodigy and all of its players. And here we are. I think this might be entering their 4th year. And I'll confirm that with Will. But
I think it's the
that
4th
sounds
year.
about right. So, and we saw them shake up the game in a lot of ways, which is very exciting. So, Kevin on the board had asked if we ever, in fact,
Kevin,
if we get tired of
Kevin
doing what we're doing.
Burgess from one of our other podcasts that a lot of people listen to, Final Round Radio. He asked if we ever get burnt out doing this, and I said, actually tonight, yes. Right before you came on and came down, I said, I really don't want to do this. We should take like a month break.
Yeah,
but
that's the dedication Johnny gives you. He tells you he doesn't want to do it.
But we're here, we're doing it, and partially it's just because my voice. I'm a little exhausted. Just busy lately. Big projects at work and all that other garbage. I know. My wife's running away doing whatever, and who knows?
That should be taken exactly how it sounded.
Any way you want to take that. She doesn't listen to this anyway, so I can say whatever I want about her.
I thought she just muted you and listened to me.
No.
Oh.
She really can't stand you.
I beg to differ. Some other thing. Anyway.
Well, let's
all right. Well, let's get Will Schusterick on the line. We're going to dial him up. Again, we want to thank, before he even joins us, I want to thank Will. As I reached out to him this afternoon, he was questioning if he was a backup to some other guest that had withdrawn. And
definitely not.
Not at all. So.
No backups. We just didn't really have a plan.
Yeah.
And we were looking for someone who's actually got something going on this winter.
And he does.
And Will does. So let's take the warm welcome with Mr. Will Schusterick.
Hey, Will.
Hi there. Hello, Terry.
How you doing?
Great. How's it going?
Good. We're finally entering what we believe will be a real winter-like season.
Yep.
We've had a pretty mild time up here, and obviously everyone's talking about the super moon the last 2 nights. What's it like down there in Nashville area?
Seems like it's pretty nice fall. You know, it does not seem like winter. It's been about 65 degrees every single day. I just remember around this time last year being pretty cold and not really wanting to go outside, and I don't think it's going to get cold for the next couple weeks.
Okay. How much are you playing? I mean, everybody talks about off season, and heaven forbid, some people like actually take their discs and put them in a closet or stash them and don't even touch them for a few weeks or a few months. How about yourself?
We came back from our honeymoon on the 28th, and I didn't play for 2 weeks when we were out there. But every single day since I've been back, I've played at least 2 rounds a day.
Wow.
And have gone out to the field basically every day and practice putted a bunch and just kind of playing. It was pretty nice to go away for 2 weeks and come back. I just had a tournament in Lula, Georgia last weekend, and trying to just find some smaller ones to go play.
Yeah, especially being in that area of the country, you're right on the cusp of like decent weather and then still being able to find stuff if you want to go out and compete every weekend. Do you find yourself maintaining that excitement to play even when things have slowed down and these events have gotten a little smaller?
Yeah, and honestly, after the honeymoon, and I actually took a 2-week break. A 2-week break was one of the best things. Getting away, not having anything to do with disc golf in general. I mean, I do disc golf basically 365 days a year, and getting away for 2 weeks was really nice just for the mental break and the physical break. And when I came back, I was really jonesing to go play. Like, I remember throwing in the field for like 3 hours the first day that we came back, and the next day I was sore from playing disc golf for probably the first time in my entire life.
Wow. Yeah, and you hit on something exactly what I was going to ask about. A lot of people know you obviously as a successful golfer and competitor, but you're very involved with everything that Prodigy has going on. And then you're involved with running events and partnering with events and doing things of that nature. What is it that, outside of the competition, what is it about all that other stuff? Because a lot of other people are like, I don't want anything to do with that. I just want to go out and throw some frisbees around. But you seem to really thrive in the social media and all the other business aspects.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because I have found an interest in that stuff. When Prodigy came out, I know that there's some people that have thrown around a couple rumors, but I basically invested my entire life savings into Prodigy the year that it came out. And that's given me a little bit more of a reason to go out there and build something for the future. And I think that's one of the reasons why I really do love disc golf in general, is the fact that it hasn't been fully created. There's disc golf as we knew it 5 years ago when you look back at tournaments, and then there's disc golf that we have it now. And the people that are doing stuff now are making moves. Like, they're making true moves that are changing the sport for the next 5 to 10 years. And I want to be one of those people. I want to be in the hands of how disc golf changes and grows, and whether it's a player, a promoter, or a tournament director, whatever it is, I just want to have slowly kind of get into those different areas.
Now, we've seen you doing some clinics, and then we've seen you with with tournaments and series and whatnot. Where do you see yourself spreading? Is there a specific channel or avenue you're spreading into this slower season?
The slower season, I'm definitely getting into more of the tournaments. I'm actually going to run my first actual, I guess you could call it a tournament, a 2-day tournament. It's not PDGA. I just want to keep it kind of small. It's on a golf course that is near downtown Nashville called Nashboro Golf Club. And right now they have a temporary 18-hole course, and they reached out to me saying that they want to put together a disc golf tournament. And I said, of course, I'm going to help you guys out. I've ran some Part 2 events, but I actually have never organized a 2-round tournament. In this tournament, you get golf carts and players pack. I got some custom trophies that are being made, and I'm just kind of trying to slowly ease my way into running tournaments, because in the future I want to do some bigger style ones.
Do you see yourself running? We'll use a comparison. Kale's runs a ton of tournaments and is involved in that end. We've seen Dave Felberg, especially during his injuries this year. He's been more on the running things. We've seen Nico LaCastro, another guy that comes to mind. Do you see yourself structuring your tournaments in a certain way, as in, will they be usually typically more amateur based, or will they be ones that you may still want to try and compete in yourself? Is there any kind of formula that you think you have?
I think it goes both ways, and I think that right now, I think that there's 2 sets of tournaments, in my opinion, that get the most success for disc golf in general, and I think that's really large amateur style events that are either player pack only, or they have somewhat of a payout. But I think that the player pack only have the largest turnouts.
Okay.
Bowling Green Nams is another one. They do a payout, and they get 850 players that come into Bowling Green, Kentucky, of all places, to play a disc golf tournament. And I think that Nashville is primed as a very prime location to do something like that. And when it comes to a professional style event, I think that the Pro Tour and World Tour are doing it very well. And I think that that's something that needs to be brought to Nashville. Nashville is one of the fastest growing cities in the entire U.S., with 100 people moving here per day is the stat that they use. And I think that having a large event is prime location for Nashville.
Yeah, and excuse my geography, but when I think of Nashville and Bowling Green, like you said, you can get to it really from everywhere in the country, and being in a relatively centralized location, I think that's why Bowling Green has been so successful. Part of the reason, because everyone you talk to is like, yeah, my drive was 10 hours or less is pretty much the answer that you get. And when you're in that kind of, and you can draw from all those areas, it makes perfect sense. Anything crazy that we might see from Prodigy this year? I feel like you're a little bit more of an insider than probably most of even the rest of the team, but anything crazy or out of the norm that we might see from Prodigy this year?
Well, we just released our clothing line, and
Okay.
I think that it's a pretty big deal, because it's not necessarily just branded clothing. It's not clothing that you can go buy off of sandmar.com and get a large order of T-shirts to do and sell. They're actually manufactured and made by Prodigy. They're designed by professionals, and they're designed for disc golf.
Okay.
Designed by disc golf as in it's doesn't have a certain stitching on the shoulder, so it's not necessarily restricting whenever you're trying to throw or putt. We have some more information on that though on our website to check out. But there's really good stuff. It's something that I'm really excited that we're coming out with. That clothing was something that we wanted to do for a couple of years now, and it's really hard to get into the whole clothing business because there's not much money to be made except if you're doing it yourself.
And that's called the Prodigy Ace top. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is the Ace top. That's correct.
And Johnny's pulled it up on the website. He's not really always that all-knowing, but he's pulled it up on the website. Johnny, list off a couple of those features. We'll show them here on the page. Talk to us a little bit. I mean, it says the glide technology on the back panel and arm gussets allow for natural 360 motion, breathability. Those are some of the things that you're saying you guys took into consideration when you know how our athletes throw and what they use to, what they need to be comfortable.
And with disc golf, of course, we use our shoulder with every single movement. And every single movement has to do with this, with putting or reaching back, obviously, with the drive. And a lot of the times you see people pulling up every single time, honestly. I know for me personally, if there's a stitch right here, it's the worst feeling if it's too tight.
Yep.
There's some that are fine. And if it's too hot, it really, if you're sweaty, then there's probably no shirt out there that's made for you. But this one, it really does make a pretty big difference not having that stitch right there. The backside is one piece of dry fit material, not necessarily a bunch of stitchings together.
Okay. Wow. So, and that's part of the innovation that as soon as a lot of us think, disc golf has gotten to a point, how many more things can they actually do to a disc or whatever the case might be? And you've just nailed it. There's always things that can be thought about to improve upon. And there's no one better than someone like yourself who's out there on the tour that, experiences these things and be like, oh yeah, my shirt. I mean, I personally would have never thought of the stitching in my shirt. Obviously I don't play like you do or as much as you do, but I would have never thought of something like that. But I bet you once people get into something like that, they're going to never want to look back. And you're kind of redefining how a shirt is done. And that says a lot.
Yeah, and I hope that's the case. I hope that people can get it out there, try it out. And that's one of the reasons, too, why I always like to put on a couple events is you don't necessarily have a store distributor that can carry all of your products or promote yourself in a certain way or fashion. And sometimes I just like to, grab it by the horns and go out there and really show people my passion for the sport and for trying to grow my company and Prodigy and stuff like that, and just get it out there.
So now, is there a huge separation between where you as an investor and a co-owner or however you guys title it, between where that stops with Prodigy and then where the Will Schusterick branding and involvement come in? Is there a huge separation there, or to you is that all kind of in a similar? Because I think of like a Kale who has Airborne and then has obviously sponsored by Prodigy, and he meshes them very well together. And we're seeing more and more players kind of have two, their branding as a player, but then also their collaboration with their sponsor. Is there some defined line there for you?
Yeah, and I think that the best way to answer that is very similar to earlier, is that I can basically make it my own. And with Prodigy, a really fast growing company, you can really grow into that as a player, as an up and coming player or a touring professional, and you can kind of create your thing to where it's running. Like I'm doing this thing called the Schusterick series. Okay. And I can create that, mold it into something that has to do with Prodigy. And at the same time, I'm making my own little series of events, but also it's helping promote Prodigy at the same time. And I had a hand in helping develop the Part 2 event and coming out and having it to where it's a very beginner-friendly event that people can come and play. And that's I think also a very good example.
So give us a little more detail. Some people may or may not have know about the Schusterick series you're doing, give us the pitch on it and why someone should come out and play, or where they need to look and find more info about it.
Yeah, in this specific event, I'm running at a golf course. It's 2 rounds, starts at 8 o'clock in the morning at a Nashboro Golf Club. You get a golf cart for the 2 rounds. There's food and drinks available at the golf course. And with this specific event, there's not going to be a payout because of the green fees and the cart fees that go along to having to use a golf course. And I'm getting together a player package from Prodigy. That's a Prodigy shirt, Prodigy hat, and Prodigy disc to go along with it. We actually have some Nashville Predator tickets to go as a CTP as
Nice.
well, and working with some other kind of local places to get some cool CTP prizes. And I'm also had some custom-made trophies from a friend of mine he's in South Carolina, just on the border. His name is Dickie Brewer, and he makes custom guitars, and he's actually making me 2 custom trophies right now.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Those sound above and beyond. Other events? Do you have other events specifically lined up for your series? And is there going to be an overall points total, that kind of stuff?
I definitely want to do more. I haven't planned on doing any more right now. I just installed a course, or just designed a course in Nashville called Cane Ridge that has a lot of hype and a lot of good feedback from it. I think that's also a place that is destined to have just a tournament put together at a place like that. And probably going to do some on the road as well whenever I'm traveling around next year.
Okay. Now, again, one of our other favorite guests we love talking about and having on is EMAC, and there's some similarities there when you talk about getting into course design. People certainly respect the opinion of our world champions and of our top players, and it makes perfect sense that you guys have some input. But it sounds like yourself and an EMAC and a few of our other top players are more than just, oh yeah, I'm gonna here, back this tee up. I mean, you usually get right in there and get down to the nitty gritty when it comes to doing course design, don't you?
Yeah, and I really do love course design. I think that it does take a certain mind to be able to put together an 18-hole course that flows well and has the exact pin and tee locations for a professional and an amateur at the same time. Even if I know that there are some world-renowned course designers, but I always think that it's very beneficial to have a professional eye whenever it comes to course design, because it's really hard to see certain angles, certain shots, unless you've actually seen it in person. And it's always easy to imagine something, but whenever it comes to seeing it and throwing it, I think it makes a very big difference.
So that immediately I want to reverse just a few weeks and say, were you eyeing those situations up? Were you looking at those things when you were visiting Hawaii, thinking about where you'd love to, the epic spot to put a basket or have a tee area from?
Yeah, I was actually I was invited to go play a couple courses in Hawaii. I didn't get a chance to go play. I was in downtown Kona, which is on the Big Island of Hawaii, and I was walking by a surf shop, and a guy had a cloth basket inside of his shop, and I walked in, and of course, I immediately wanted to talk to the first person that had to do with disc golf, and I said, "Why is this disc golf basket in here? Is there a disc golf course nearby? Do you guys play disc golf?" And he said he lived in South Carolina, played tournaments, and whatever. And I talked to him there for a little bit, and then kind of left. But that was my only interaction that had to do with disc golf in Hawaii.
Except for, didn't you run into some other crazy?
Run into Charlie Goodpasture,
Okay.
And that was beyond there's no odds in the world that you could have given me to running into somebody out there.
Okay.
Because
How did that go down? Because I saw a few of the posts, but what exactly went down?
Yeah, so we were on the there's a road in Hawaii called the Road to Hana, and it's 57 miles, 671 turns, and 57 one-lane bridges that you have to wait for the Alligator Pass, of course, to go. And there's hundreds of waterfalls across the way. And Trish and I were just driving, stopping at each waterfall and enjoying our time. It probably took us 4 hours to take this road. And we stopped at this waterfall that was not very popular, but we just wanted to stop to check it out. stopped, got out of the car, walked over there, checked it out, took a picture, hung out for a little bit, and then Trish turned around to walk back to the parking lot. And she goes, "Oh my gosh, are you kidding right now?" And it was just like, what? How does this even happen? And it was so crazy. He just walked right up. He was with his dad, and we sat there and chatted for a little bit. I learned that he was actually born in Honolulu, which I had no idea.
Okay.
But it was really an absurd coincidence.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I think I saw some. I don't know if it was just a Facebook Live or if it was a picture or two. But I thought just that, like, yeah, what are the odds just to randomly run into?
Yeah.
And no offense, Charlie, you're not quite the celebrity that I was gonna ask about, which is, well, haven't you run into some celebrities? Have you had any interactions with any of our big outside of disc golf celebrities that either knew you or you knew them and there was any kind of connection or anything like that? Have you had any of those situations? I feel like there was one that I've always been meaning to ask about.
There was the guitarist from UMath recently reached out to me. His name is Todd Gummerman. Super nice guy. Lives in Nashville. That was probably the most recent one. There's the guy from Bizarre Foods reached out to me. Said that he wants to play some disc golf pretty soon. If you know the name, the artist Ben Rector.
Okay, I don't, but
I don't know if you know him or not. There's some guys that know him. He travels around in tours right now, and he reached out and he posted a video on his Twitter of throwing a frisbee into the crowd and this guy catching it, and then the entire crowd just erupts and goes crazy. And then, I think that Brody Smith was the guy that retweeted it, and I messaged over to Ben and I was like, do you ever play disc golf? And he said that he does and he would love to play and all that stuff, and he lives in Nashville as well. And it was kind of ironic at the time because Trish actually walked down the aisle to a Ben Rector song, and he messaged me the day before our wedding.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Huh, that is pretty crazy. Now, you are stationed, a suburb of Nashville or right in Nashville?
Yeah, I'm southeast of Nashville in a town called Smyrna.
Oh, okay. And obviously, I think we discussed it earlier, that seems like a pretty natural location for you guys in terms of getting cross country and making pit stops and being able to get home and visit family and friends and everyone else. And I assume that's your plan for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, I think so. I think that Nashville is a pretty good hub whenever it comes to an airport as well. I mean, they're expanding it, making it more international. There's a lot of really big tournaments in the Southeast that are coming up. I know that at the beginning of the season, it kind of starts off west, and, minus the Beaver State Fling, there's a lot of tournaments that come up on the east side, especially towards the end of the year. And I think that I'll always be in Tennessee in this area.
Okay. And then I was going to just, you mentioned something earlier about the tours and whatnot. Do you foresee yourself on tour any more or less, or specifically which tours? There was a lot of conversation this year about who would ultimately travel overseas for a lot of the world tour events, and it seemed like that crowd was very small in terms of U.S. Representatives from any manufacturer. The crowd was relatively small. Is that going to be any more on your radar this year, or any less, or what are some of your just generic plans?
Right now, I don't have any plans to go to Australia. That would be the only thing that kind of comes to my mind. But I do, of course, have plans to go over to Europe. I'm sure I'll spend at least a month over there. I think I've done that for the last 2 or 3 years. And ever since I was 16 or 17, I've played at least 20 to 25 tournaments every single year. And I foresee myself doing that exact same thing. I do have plans to travel along the Pro Tour and play as many of those events as possible, because I think that it pays off in the long run whenever the championship comes up towards the end of the year. I don't think I really have an opinion one way or another with all of the bigger events that are kind of, I guess, meshed a little bit closer together. Okay. Since the Pro Tour goes every other weekend, there's also some A tiers that are mixed in Texas and Jacksonville Open, which I always like to play. And I'm going to try to hit as many as possible as I typically do.
Okay, so nothing crazy in that regard. Now, do you feel like, and I'm sure you've been asked a number of times, was there any additional challenge or pressures or anything that was different for you this year, knowing you're going to be getting married and yeah, I mean, getting married is always something so major. Was there anything that felt different to you this year that was, on or off?
I would think my whole game honestly fell off. I think it's the worst. I would say worst is pretty a bad. I kind of like a negative term. I don't like to use a whole lot, but it was not as good as the previous seasons I have played, and I fully expect to spend all of winter, all of the off-season training and getting better in the very specific areas that I was not very good at. And I think that being the number one ranked player in the world in 2011, 2012-ish, I know that I can get back to feeling that way. And there's been certain times to where I feel like I could be a better player than I was back then. And I would love to get back there. I don't think that it's something that's out of my sights. I think it's something that I can fully sit down and really come up with a plan and focus and really attack it.
What's the number one thing that you want to focus on or dial in?
Really getting back to my whole routine. I think that my game changed a little bit last year. I used to go for a lot of things. I used to rip shots just about on every single hole, and I don't really remember last year just going up knowing that I was just excited to rip the disc. And it's kind of seems like something silly, but that's something I've always enjoyed growing up, is just ripping putters and ripping mid ranges. And it wasn't necessarily all about putting, although putting is a huge part of the game. I just enjoyed it, and I want to get back into it's not necessarily that I didn't enjoy playing, but I want to go out there, and instead of sitting and looking at a shot for 25 seconds, I just want to walk up and throw and really just love every shot.
Does Prodigy currently make, and I only ask this because you guys are only a few years old, do they currently make every tool that you need to be successful?
Yeah, I think they do. And when I won the USDGC, we didn't have the A series. We didn't have we just came out with the H1, and we didn't have a lot of the other discs that even came out in different plastics.
Okay.
I think that any top player would tell you that you need a certain amount of discs, maybe honestly 4 or 5 discs that you truly love and can really you can really put a lot of I can't even think of the word right now, but if you have 4 or 5 discs in your bag that you've worn in and you played with, and you can compete just on about any course.
Okay. Now, do you feel like Prodigy should maybe reward Germ with like 3/4 of a disc for his USDGC win, or will he?
The 3/4. Yeah. A disc in 3/4 and send it over to Germ.
Just cut a portion.
It would be kind of hilarious. Be like, here's your
just gonna have a 1, and then the X is gonna be like cut off.
Exactly. Here's your signature series USDGC disc. What a crazy turn of events. You're obviously being so successful at that event in the past for you. I watched some of your Facebook Live and was interacting. I must.
Yeah, that was great.
Friday.
By the way,
yeah, thank you. Thursday or Friday's action. Any quick takes? Without beating a dead horse, but any quick takes as to just that madness that was the USDGC finishing early?
Yeah, based on just the USDGC in general, I think that it took a step in getting back towards where it used to be. To where it used to be a very prestigious event for the top professionals in the world. I think it's somewhat on the right track. I would like to see it get a little bit bigger as well. But based off of the just not playing the last round, in my opinion, it was the right call. Whenever I walked out there and based it off of the conditions of when people were supposed to be playing at 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning, there were lakes and running water, and the OBs probably changed by 10 to 15 feet, and it was a really huge difference between when I walked out there, and I know that Ricky did a live feed as well, went from over his Facebook page, and he walked out there and was checking it out, and it honestly didn't look anything like when I was out there, because when I was out there in the morning, it was just flooded, and it was still raining, and the wind was ridiculous. And I actually drove over by 888, and there were branches falling off of a bunch of the trees that I can see why they were talking about a safety concern if that was anything in their mind. but at the same time, they definitely made the right call. I don't think that it was. I couldn't see anybody playing out there, and then trying to push it towards the next day would be impossible because I was already hearing about like 6 or 7 people in the top 15 or 20 that had to cancel because they had to fly back home, and that was crazy.
Yeah, and we've talked about it quite a bit. There was no perfect solution, but when you laid out all the cards on the table, it seems like they presented the best possible hand and did the best they could with it. And nobody envies the tough decisions they had to make, or trying to appease so many people. Even Big Germ obviously talked all about he'd love to go out and have proved that he could have held on to that lead, but he rested a little easier as opposed to a Nico or a Ricky who were chomping at the bit to get out there and try and challenge him that day. So it was definitely some chaos. Now there's not a special bat phone right to you. I mean, you got three of the rings from there. Do you get 3 parts say in what they do over there?
Not yet. I think I just follow suit with everybody else.
Okay. Well, it's awesome seeing that event, and there's so many different things that they've tried, some very successful, some not, but seeing that event evolve every year, and for yourself, I mean, was there in any of the 3 times you took it down, do you feel like there was any stark contrast between, well, this win felt really different than that win because of a rule or because of a given year situation?
Yes and no, because of the 3 times that I did win, they were all very close.
Mm-hmm.
The one time that I was tied for the lead in 2013 with Steve Brinster coming down, it kind of all came down to 17. And I think the only thing that is similar between all the times that I've played USDGC is that my tournament has came down to hole 17, unfortunately.
and you're not the only one. A lot of people could say that, unfortunately or not. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to see it go back to more of a regular rules as in what we're always typically used to playing, and not necessarily drop zones or rethrows or certain different penalties, I guess. I would really like to see it go back and play it like it used to be played.
Okay. Well, and I think we're going to continue to see a lot of tweaks, especially when we talk about UC and the World Tour and trying to develop, you talked about earlier, championship caliber courses that are really taking into account for our top throwers, and you're right in that category. People have to be concerned about, well, how far is Ricky and Paul and Schusterick going to throw? I mean, someone like yourself has to be considered because you don't throw like the average pro that's out there. Is there any particular event in the upcoming year that has kind of made you think, this needs to be more? I really want this to be the year that I go out and get title X, Y, or Z. Is there any particular event?
That's pretty tough. I mean, of course, the World Championships is one of them, being the first, I guess you could call it the true World Championships. I don't know however you want to call it.
Sure.
But that would be really awesome to go out and take that down in Augusta and at the IDGC. I think that the Green Mountain Championship showed last year that it's one of the top events across the entire tour season. Of course, a couple national tour events coming up that are always pretty big. The European Open over in Finland and stuff like that. And I think that any of those tournaments, winning them, I think really speaks for a lot, because there's so many good players nowadays that it's tough to get away from.
Okay. And your wife is going to be just buying and selling houses all around Nashville for the year, or is she going to be on tour?
She might come with me on tour.
Okay.
She might come with me a little bit. She usually comes with me to one of the cooler places out there that we travel. Like last year, we went around to Vegas and Nantucket, and we went to different places to travel and check it out. And she'll definitely be selling some houses, but you'll probably see her on the road as well a little bit.
Well, we were talking recently about Chris Herron in Wisconsin, who's now become a mogul, housing mogul. And I think he's acquired something like 50 different properties in the last couple of years, 2-3 years. Yeah. And selling and buying and renting out and renovating and flipping and doing all that stuff. I think you guys are in maybe a position to be doing something similar with a. I don't
Tell
think
him
Chris.
to come down to Nashville.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think we could hook him up with someone we know. That would work. So a couple of quick questions off the board, which I don't always pay full attention to, but someone had said, wondering if Will throws the A4. I'm just going to rattle a few of these off for them. Do you throw an A4?
I don't throw the A4.
Okay.
I do throw the A2 right now. I think the A4, and for the record, I don't say this to any other disc, but the A4 I think is the very great. It's like a disc that is great for sidearm, but it just doesn't work as well for backhand.
Okay.
For me, mostly.
Okay.
I know a lot of players really like it for just a straight sidearm that goes for slower speeds because it has a really good grip for a mid-range type disc.
Okay. I think A4 stock just plummeted. Will. No, do you bag an X1?
Could have easily went up.
Do you bag an X1 was another question, and I'll see if I can find any other quick ones here.
Yes, I do.
Okay. That was easy enough. Is Michael Gibney your biggest fan? And I made that one up, but is he your biggest fan?
He has to take that. I think Gibney and Billy Bednar have to fight it out.
Oh, that would be a good battle. You're right. I think it would be. All right. What? I didn't know if we had. We talked about team stuff briefly before we pulled you onto the show. Anything crazy that you can give us at least a tease or any insights into that we may be seeing on the team front? Adding, do you have a number of people you guys think, well, if we added 2 people a year, 5 people a year, 10 people, or hey, time to trim out a few? Is there any numbers in mind, or just people come and go naturally?
I think people come and go naturally.
Okay.
And it kind of is based off of how that certain player feels. Some players feel because they feel like there's a better opportunity, not necessarily money wise, but to work with a different business, and it's not necessarily I don't know. I can't think of the word for it right now, but
well, some people are making business decisions versus personal or anything like that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Exactly. Is Prodigy sending anyone to the Aussie Open? I feel like you'd be the
potentially.
Okay.
Yes.
Brad Hammock. Okay. I don't know if there's anything else.
Hammock. Just throwing that out there.
What'd you say?
I said I played with Brad Hammock last weekend.
Okay. Kevin McCoy
Kevin
says
was saying he's coming out of retirement.
Yeah,
he
he
stay
says
away.
Hammock came out of retirement a month ago, and that Kevin actually ran into him while he was looping at Hawks Ridge. And he said he knew he couldn't stay away forever. So
does he still have the traditional put his back to the tee pad and that whole?
He's got to.
Everything's the same.
Everything's the same.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. Do you feel like you? And I guess maybe I'm painting us old here, but do you feel like you've missed out on any of the stories or legends that were maybe just before your time that people you hear about, but you didn't necessarily get to play with or ever really see in their prime? Is there anyone that jumps out that fits in that category? And for me, like a Hammock, like Brad was in his prime. I was there in 2006's Pro Worlds. He won Masters, made a really crazy, awkward speech after winning Pro Worlds and Masters. I mean, that was all part of his prime, and I was playing golf in all of his prime. Is there anyone like that might jump out that you're like, yeah, I hear about, so-and-so, but...
I've only met Ron Russell twice when I went to the Jacksonville Open.
Yep.
And I know that he was a world champion. I never saw him really. I've never seen him play a hole, if that means anything.
Sure. Yeah.
I've met him twice. I've seen him throw a Frisbee. Never seen him throw a disc or a putt or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, and he's I put him right in that exact same category with Brad Hammock, one of those guys who was so good and especially toured and did a lot of things, but you didn't necessarily. I mean, to think he won in '99. When was the first time you really got into serious golfing?
2006.
What's that?
2006.
Exactly. Okay, so 7 years off of that. Cam Todd would have fit that category for many years until he kind of reemerged just a few years ago. But he was another one of those guys that was a legend out on the tour. You think of Al Sugar Shack, who still maybe only plays locally, and Todd Branch, who was in the Winnie crew. I think of some of those guys that, were definitely staples in our disc golf scene that you never, you didn't necessarily get to see or.
First ever thing that got me into pro disc golf was watching Marshall Street, and I was watching it on a VHS. And I think it was from 2005, and I watched Steve Brinster ace the short tee pad that was on the castle hole. And so I watched Brinster, Ron Russell, and I think a little bit of Cam Todd, and I would just watch it on a loop, and I would just watch them make these really long putts and play Maple Hill over and over and over again. And that was like the thing that got me into playing like pro disc golf.
I could see that, and obviously that place still to this day so important. What does it take to win there? We don't see a lot of variety. What does it take to win there?
It takes a lot of consistency. I mean, of course, you can say that at any tournament, but the Maple Hill course is it's definitely one of the top in the world, I would say. But it's just really tough to not get into trouble, especially on the first couple holes, because you can either take a 4, or you can take a 2, a 4, or a 6 on just about any hole on the front 9. And at the same time, none of those holes can even help you do anything towards the end of the round. You can birdie every single one, but towards the end of the round, you can take a 6, and then none of those birdies even matter. Or you can take a 6 at the very beginning of the round and birdie the last 3 or 4, and then you'd be fine and be in the top 10.
Yeah. It's definitely a magical place, and if anyone wants to rent Steve Dodge's place, it's available on VRBO.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's officially packing things up and not on site on property there full time. So I think, did we talk about that last week?
No.
Okay, well, it is available on VRBO. So if somebody wants, I think they have it listed as anywhere from 2 to 15 people. All the rooms are all done up exceptionally nice. It looks gorgeous, and people can go rent Steve Dodge's place and stay there, and obviously have a few hundred foot walk right over to the course. So
hey, he should pay you for that.
What's that?
He should pay you for that ad.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Should. Good call. Man, I need to get into some realtor business here.
No, you don't.
No, okay, maybe not. Anyway.
Save it for the pros.
Do you have anything you'd like to share with us? Any other things I maybe didn't think about asking you about? Anything off the top of your head?
I don't think that I have anything. I know that there's a tournament coming up in Jacksonville, Florida, at a course that Phil, Arthur, and I designed. The registration opens in a few days.
Okay. When is that?
The tournament?
Yeah.
I think it's the 16th and 17th, or whatever the weekend that is.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Will.
Of December, that is.
Yeah. I was just scrolling through. I'm like, I think it's
the
in
month
December.
probably matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've asked you plenty of good questions. Get caught up. We've seen you around this year and haven't caught up with you as much. You're as busy as any of our top professionals are. I certainly see all that, like we said. With all the things you do off the course, between social media and then your full integration with everything that's Prodigy and your own branding. We know you're a busy guy, but thanks so much for catching up with us.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks for inviting me to come on here.
Even if it was last minute.
Even if it was last minute. It's okay, Terry.
Because I'm slow like that.
I think I'm the fastest person probably the fastest disc golfer to respond.
You were pretty quick today.
You're definitely right there.
You definitely were, and we appreciate that. So anything you want to say to all your fans out there? It looks like we have a really solid crowd here tonight, one of our larger ones in the last few weeks. Anything you need to say?
Not much. I got to give a shout out to the Broner group on Facebook.
Okay.
All right.
Fair enough. All right. Well, again, we appreciate it, and hopefully we'll run into you sometime in some nice warm weather somewhere around the country.
All right. See you in the sun.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks, Will.
All right, and there we have it again, our three-time USDGC champion, along with all the other tournaments he's won. I don't have all day to list them all off, but he's got plenty of wins. And as he said, he did not have the banner season, and there's no sense in beating that to death. He knows it, and we know it.
Yep.
And
he's got a lot less on his mind this upcoming year. I think he can spend more time focused on golf.
And I think it's exciting to know, just as he said, taking a little bit of time off, rejuvenating himself, and when you have that passion. Now, if he had said, I came back from, my honeymoon and didn't necessarily feel like picking up a disc, then I think you could have been a little bit worried. But no, he was jonesing to get out, and I know he's going to put in the time and the energy and the effort to get back on top. What one of my favorite things that I love hearing, and he didn't say it, but what I love hearing from so many of our players, and this is across all sports, is when the competitors, usually the ones that are charging, always say, well, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to work harder than anyone else. No one's going to outwork me. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people that say that, and I always think somebody's outworking somebody here. Whether it's Paul Ulibarri that says it, or Paul Macbeth, or Ricky, or whomever. Somebody's outworking somebody somewhere. But everybody says that.
I guess, yeah.
We need to put a measuring stick on this.
A working measuring stick?
Yep, an outwork you measuring stick as to who that's going to be.
There's all sorts of different type of work. So.
I know, and that's what's funny.
Are you hitting the weights? Are you doing more anaerobic stuff? Are you doing
they all stuff? Say no one's going to outwork me.
More practice.
I watched
more course time.
A Ricky Wysocki
just
announcement, or I'm sorry, a Ricky Wysocki submission for his giveaway in terms of being sponsored by SakiBomb.com. And that was another thing that gentleman said, no one's going to outwork me. No one's going to work harder than I am. It's just it's a funny statement that a lot of people say, and I always just wonder.
Well, we can come up with a formula, like,
Chuck Kennedy. We need a
rating system, like X amount of points for gym time, yep. X amount of points for like running, X amount of points for field work, putting practice, course time.
And some don't put any emphasis on certain things.
Well, then they're going to fall in the ratings. They need to hit all these measurements. I mean, you don't want to come up short in our new Smashbox work rating.
Exactly. Speaking of working out, congrats, Jordan Castro. Not only talking about getting to 1,000 today, it's funny. I don't even look at the ratings. That's how far removed I am from playing.
I didn't realize
it's not worth it. Yeah. But Jordan Castro mentions today he gets to 1,000, and then very cleverly a few days ago made a comment that he said he's designed a hole, and he had to work really hard for it, and he really loves the energy and the effort and the work he put in to do it. He said, I designed a new hole on my belt loop, because he says he's lost a few pounds out there working hard. We're working harder than everyone else.
Hey.
But no, that's awesome. Congrats, Jordan. And some of the funny things you pick up on social media, but I'll be your biggest cheerleader, buddy. That's good for you. Awesome to see.
Someone asked, is it true you were 999? No.
I don't think so.
I think rated.
Once rated.
No, I think you never hit 999. I think you were 998.
I thought it was 995.
Maybe it was.
It was not 999, but it was once, in fact, at least 995. Yeah. Somewhere in the year 2007.
Oh, way back when.
Those were some. I was a decent golfer back in the day. But
yeah, you were.
That was yesteryear. Damn, almost
that was before they lengthened out these darn courses.
Lengthened courses and having kids and all that other stuff. And quite frankly, obviously, you can see I just continued to play less and less. I've been letting myself go now for 20 years. I don't think that. I don't think that counts. No, unfortunately. But yes, and to me, it's still to this day funny when people say, Do you like play disc golf? And I don't. I have to honestly say no, I don't now. But like, there's so many people that think like I've never touched a disc, and I'm okay with that because they wouldn't know my history. But it's funny when people are like, or I see the trolls and are like, oh, let's get someone there that knows disc golf that played or plays. Like, I played.
Yeah. Well, my favorite is we don't play very often, but then. The last time we actually got to play together when we were at GBO, and we walked up to hole 1, and I parked it at Peter Pan over the fence.
Yeah, you did.
Which is like 340, something like that.
I think it's like 370.
370. And
440.
I think it was 590. And I think it was Tim from Mind Body Disc looked at me and goes, "What the crap? You can throw?" It's like, well, sometimes, I'll also miss that 8-foot putt, but hey.
And that was a day, funny enough, too. Some people were mildly shocked or surprised. Throughout the round, I putted pretty well.
Yeah.
And, so it's sometimes funny that people,
even though we haven't been out there recently, every once in a while, I've been jonesing to get out and play, actually. And I was thinking like, these past couple weekends have been really busy, but I want to get out and play. And then I looked at this upcoming weekend. It's supposed to be gorgeous up until Friday, and then literally drop into like the 30s and the 20s. So I doubt I'm going to get out.
Yeah, I doubt you will either. Well, getting out into some warm weather was me,
You did
along
that.
with 80 women and then some. I had to finally look. Yes, my rating has now continued.
No, I'm not.
I don't want to say spiral. Well, maybe that would be a good. Nah, I don't know if it can be like a 5-year spiral. 952. 23 career wins with an asterisk. That was because it was before the internet's. 23 career wins, and it says, and 21,000 career dollars. Wow. Yeah, not that impressive. A huge shout out. Let me start here. The total side note. Huge shout out to the PDGA. I don't know if you had any part of this or not, Kevin, who's out on the board. But the PDGA this year, out of nowhere, I got an email a week or two ago that said, hey, thanks for being a state coordinator. State coordinators now are doing more than ever. There's more events than ever. Mm-hmm. And one way we would like to thank you for being a state coordinator, which is an elected, biannual elected position that is still ultimately volunteer. However, they said, I hope they did this to everyone. They said they said we're gonna cover your PDGA membership for next year.
Wow, that's nice.
And it was very, very nice. I would have paid for it gladly. I do, even though I'm down to playing only a couple of events a year. I'll pay for it for the rest of my life, or maybe not. But if I don't have to, but and I'll still pay for my 2 kids who are 5 and 8 who will not play in a PDGA event this year. I try to make them still current every year, just to support the PDGA. But yeah, very nice. I appreciate it, and they're right. Some of our states are hosting anywhere between 20 and 50 or 60 or more PDGA events, and helping getting a lot of that coordinated, especially come November, December, January, can become like a part-time job. And then dealing with some of the questions and the follow-up that can come from it, it is quite the effort. So it was a very nice gesture. Thank you to the PDGA for doing that and recognizing our state coordinators. I think I've been the state coordinator in Wisconsin since its inception.
So 2002?
I know I ask it
Something like that.
every once in a while, but I think it was around 2000 or 2001. So it's been 15 years, and
Bravo, sir.
yeah, pretty crazy.
Now talk about PLO.
All right, PLO, the Phoenix Ladies Open. This was the 11th iteration of the event, and it's I want to make sure that I get it represented here correctly. Presented by the law offices of Paul J. Sacco, who I spoke with him, and I said, how did that come about? So a couple years ago, they asked me to be a sponsor, and I've just sponsored it ever since. He's a local guy.
Very nice.
And has
great.
done it ever since. Of course, they have all their local sponsors, but
and that just shows that it's not. You don't always have to go to disc companies. You don't always have to go to restaurants and things like that. There are other avenues for sponsorship.
Lawyers with money is a good place to start. I'm just saying.
So it's not bad.
I don't know how many we have in the disc golf community, but lawyers with money and their offices might be a good place. But go to your dentist. Go to your insurance agent. Some of these people also can thrive on the idea that, hey, you're getting together a bunch of people, and someone may or may not be interested in insurance or whatever. And, obviously we think of the Ledgestone Insurance Open as one that does that. Don Loper, a local gentleman. So those can be great resources as well for people that are looking to interact and mingle. So the PLO 11th annual, I believe it was last year where there was a little bit of a an upset. I'll use the term upset. I think it was last year where Owen Scoggins out of L.A. had actually bested the local in Katrina Allen, and everyone was like, what? Katrina wins everything. This year, Owen came out guns a-blazing and shot herself a 10 under par. Spoiler alert if you want to watch the video tomorrow, so shut this off if you're going to watch it Wednesday morning. But Owen came out with a 10 under during the first round where they played 18 holes, and Katrina came out with an 8 under. Well, then the second round, they played the same 18 holes and then added the Memorial's 6 extra holes that are on the south side, the far south side of the XL layout, as they call it. And there's 3 or 4 par 4s out of those 6 holes. I mean, you're talking about those 6 holes are probably have the length as the other 18 combined, I'm guessing. And, that probably might be close. And so they got through those relatively quickly, and then they finished out on the what many would consider holes 1 and 2. If you were at the Memorial and you saw by Duke's holes 1 and 2, that's where they finished, where 13 and 14 are the normal course holes. And it was a huge battle. It was a great battle. I got to see Azzy Rogers, who I believe is 13 years old and is an up-and-coming superstar. So you heard it here on Smashbox. Azzy Rogers, I believe it's Azriel, but I think she goes by Azzy. And, Azriel Rogers, PDGA 41789. She has got some game. And her forehand, she throws a forehand. And she's a little excitable in her run up for it, but then when she releases this forehand, it's as good or better than anyone else's.
Wow!
And
do you have it on tape?
Oh yeah, I've got an entire round with her.
Good,
watch. She's no bigger than this microphone stand. She's only 13.
Just tiny.
She's just and she's got some serious games. So right here on Smashbox, you're hearing it. I'm telling you, she's going to continue to be amazing for sure. And so she challenged, and then Zoe was there as well, and was challenging for that, the 3rd and 4th place spots. But when it was all said and done, in the Open Women's Division, we saw Katrina Allen getting the best. She birdied. You'll see her post by her. She birdied 9 out of her last 10 holes of the tournament. And here's the funny part. Spoiler alert. The one she didn't birdie, I think, was maybe the shortest. It was 200 feet.
The easiest or the
not
shortest?
The easiest.
Okay.
But in this case, it's got water to the right and OB sidewalk on the left. And she just threw a bad tee shot. It was a standstill. She threw a bad tee shot. But she birdied 9 out of her 10 remaining holes. And I kept thinking, man, Owen's right there. They were kind of neck and neck with about 7 or 8 to go. And then Kat just kept birdieing every single hole. And it was awesome. It was really solid play. And so she came out on top. Owen Scoggins in second, who's just a treat to be around and to interact with. She's hilarious. And then Azzy Rogers finished in third, and then Zoe Andyke finished in fourth. So congratulations to them. I'm going to quickly read through Trina Ledig, who's Anthony Barella's mother, went into a playoff. No, actually, they didn't have a playoff. It was her and Danya. They did not have a playoff, but they tied for first. I don't know how that went down, but in Masters Women, Lauren Butler, one of our final 4 women at the AM Worlds this year. Lauren Butler finished in first in Advanced Women. Lori Quinn finished in first in Advanced Masters. Carrie Brodeur finished first in Advanced Grandmasters. Sandra Martinez first in Intermediate Women. They had so many divisions, which was awesome. Stephanie Zimmerman was first in Rec Women. Mattia Begay in the juniors took it down in the junior 2 girls. Morgan Riddle in junior 3 girls. Emily Marie Fogner, junior 4 girls. Junior 5 girls was Mary Grace. And junior 6 girls was Leela Vosper.
Wow, there's a junior 6 girls?
Yes. 250 throws later, she completed, and she had a smile on her face, and she was an Ben Vosper's daughter, just an amazing little individual.
Excellent.
So, yeah, to just quickly, I think there were let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 women's divisions represented, which there's probably only about 14 possible if I had to guess, but sure. 11 women's divisions represented, and that's part of what makes a women's only event so unique and so special.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. I know there's sometimes talk amongst the women for we'll say quote unquote normal events to have less divisions, to try to push the women so there's more of them in one division and this and that, whether it's open or advanced or whatever. But for an event like this, spread them out, let them all compete at whatever level they want, and it's more enjoyable for them. I mean, hands down, I can guarantee you that little
Yes.
Vosper had
Yes.
more fun than had she had to play in even just amateur women or something like that.
Yeah, it was great to see. And one of the unique things they do with this specific event, I believe, like we saw from Rocky Mountain Women's and a few other events, some of the youngest divisions or some of the newest divisions only competed one round. So a lot of the super young kids, they played 18 holes in the morning and then had milk and cookies and took a nap.
Nice.
It was just the right amount of golf, and I think you see some of that at the other bigger women's events, that the more intense divisions play out as you normally would.
Sure.
But if you're a super new beginner, committing a whole day and or committing that much golf may be a little off-putting. So if you can, for some of those other divisions, maybe it's just a one round, or instead of the 24 holes, they just play 18 holes, things like that. I think those are things that you can consider. There was then lunch provided. There was sandwiches, box lunches, and such that was provided for everyone at the lunch, and then they had a dinner, which was like a pasta dinner with chicken, and it was a pretty legitimate setup, and then some. And like we see at a lot of other women events, they had caddies. And almost every woman there had a caddy. I think they got a free T-shirt as being a caddy, and they were out there caddying for the women as well. So saw Keith Murray from Spinners on the Green. He was out there pushing a cart around. He looked all too cute doing that. So men out there, almost every single woman I know.
Keith Murray looks cute doing anything.
Yeah, had a caddy out there. Chris Cobb, I know, is a huge Smashy and a huge supporter. I saw him and Matt Warren and so many other people, just so many hands on deck trying to make this event as memorable and successful as possible. And the women's outreach and Will Richardson and Zoe and just all these different people that make it possible. And now I know why that particular event is successful and why it'll continue to grow and thrive. So congrats to everyone in Arizona. You see their clubs coming together. You see their promoters coming together. You see, like I said, Keith Murray and Spinners on the Green as a huge resource being right there at the Vista course. There's just, it was great to see. So that will be out tomorrow morning. I have it like 96% edited. There's one or two little things I want to add in, but the final 9 holes will all be available, so you'll be able to check that out. And you look up some other stuff that we saw from the weekend. I'd also, as I'm looking through everything else here, I want to thank Shane Holly, who was out there doing photography, and I know he's going to have some photos posted for everyone, and I'm guessing they're going to be nothing short of amazing. So thanks to Shane as well. So, and thanks to Duke's. It's funny, you've been to Duke's a number of times.
Quite
It's
a few.
A sports bar that's located
Great salads.
right off of hole number 1 for the Memorial, right off of that fairway. So you can actually sit there and watch a number of different golf holes be played. And it's weird. It's weird being there when it's not the Memorial, because you associate Duke's and you associate that place so much with being there for that event, because it's such a great sports bar and a host for us. And I sat there and did some editing for about 6 or so hours on Sunday with lots of football being played, and that's where our after show, our podcasts have actually taken place out of. But huge thanks to them and everyone else. So thank you guys so much. I think that's about everything on the Phoenix ladies. If you get a chance, go there. 75, 80 degrees, November weather in Phoenix with 70 to 90 women playing disc golf. It was definitely a good time.
We're gonna have Yuli on later tonight?
I hope so. Yeah, are we for sure? I don't know. Yuli said he wanted to do a giveaway, so I would think he'd want to partake.
That's true. That's very true. So I'm assuming you should message him and get him all warmed up.
We'll see if we can hunt him down.
So let's talk quickly about the Georgia Flying Disc Festival presented by Latitude 64 down in Lula, Georgia. Open women. We're going to start there. Jessica Hill taking down the 2-person field, beating Ashley Collins by 11 strokes. So winning. Both women cashed, by the way. So 2 women,
nice.
2 cash. That's always.
I believe Jessica's our 2015 amateur world champion, I believe, out of Florida, if I recall.
Could be.
Okay. She just got credit for it. If she did.
If not, well, way to go. Congratulations if you didn't. Now you have. That's official on Smashbox. The open field was 33 men, taking home, tied for fourth place, Matt Dollar and Brad Hammock.
What?
Yeah, Brad coming out of retirement right into the cash. PDGA number 5912. Yeah, that's
awesome.
Yeah, I was about to say the only 4-digit person there, but I'd get corrected.
Kevin McCoy.
Exactly.
Say.
Third place, James Cole, shooting a 15 down for $375. Second place, our guest tonight, Will Schusterick, shooting a 16 under par, winning $475, and winning in the wrong division. I mean, what's he doing in that open field? He's a Masters player. Doesn't he know where to stay? Coming up, kicking some young tail. Kevin McCoy, frequenter on the board. He was out there earlier tonight, probably still is. PDG number 9453. So him and Brad Hammock share that distinction of having 4-digit PDGA numbers. Rated 992, shooting a 19 under par and winning $750.
All right, just enough to pay for some Cubs World Series merchandise.
Why would you waste your money? Just teasing Kev and Tara, kind of.
Anyway.
Should we talk about the Piney Woods, or should we wait for Paul?
Yeah, I'll see if we get an answer, if I get a direct answer back from Yuli, and then we can determine if we're going to cover the Piney Woods or if Paul wants to be part of that conversation.
Well, we'll talk about it, then we can just talk about our picks later. So,
okay.
Also this weekend was the other big event, the Dynamic Disc presents the Piney Woods Open. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago we had the tournament director on?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago we had Stephen Story on. So in the open women field, taking the division by only 4 strokes, and I say only, to her wonderful friend Madison Walker, taking second place. Taking first place, Paige Pierce. So Paige shooting a 16 down with Madison shooting a 20 down, taking home $800.
Holla.
Holla. She's rated 959, so congratulations. And Christopher Farnham, 19 under par, $1,700 apiece. And winning, no big surprise, highest rated player there, Eagle Wynn McMahon, rated 1,025, shooting 25 under par, taking home $2,800 in a field of 48. Not bad at all.
No, and I think I saw him make a post saying something about the payout was great, and how he loved the event and how he'd like to come back. And I've said it a million times, the winner always has fun. Now, obviously, they worked really hard on making that event everything that it was. He was, in fact, the highest-rated player there, and then ultimately came out on top.
He averaged about just over 1030 golf, 1035 maybe. So
okay,
pretty good.
And I'll go ahead and give full credit to Dana Vici, who had a brief conversation with today. A question that could be asked, and Yuli would also fit great into this particular conversation, but Eagle wasn't on the scene hitting the touring as hard at the beginning of this season. We saw him at events. Yeah. He obviously was competing. He traveled around. He played. And yes, I know he's just 18, so he's got an 18-year-old body, mentality, stamina, all that stuff that comes with being an 18-year-old. Is there a chance that some of his maybe early season pacing, maybe that's a good term, his early season pacing is now helping him be a little bit more dominant here in the end of the season? Does that I feel like I gotta agree with Dana. It might be giving him an upper edge, or maybe he just has enough of an edge because he's obviously
a very high rated. He's 18. He's a very high rated player. I mean, at that age, I wouldn't expect a long touring season to really matter that much. Give him 5 or 6 years, maybe that starts wearing on him. But at 18, I think, for better or worse, you're probably a little impervious, or at least you feel that way. Look at what we did when we were 18 and the amount of golf that we played, and you just go out and play. And when you're rated as high as he is, that involves winning.
Okay. Well, it's interesting to see, and why I say Yuli fits in that conversation so well is because Yuli is the ultimate road warrior and is playing almost every single weekend. Yep. And clearly, by the end of the year, there's some fatigue that's setting in, and it'll vary from person to person just how much. But like I said with Will, there's plenty of people who simply, pack it up or I saw, and what made me think is I saw a post from Valerie Doss the other day saying, yes, the rare November weather has actually, forced us out. Like we couldn't pass up coming out to play in such amazing weather here in November. But her and Nate all but, throw their disc golf bags into a closet and don't touch them for weeks or months at a time. And
yeah, I guess. I mean, that's
they're definitely a little more seasoned. So,
like I said, we're about to drop 25, 30 degrees in a matter of about 4 days. So, I mean, right there. There's my bag right there. You can see it in the plastic bag. That's where
it looks good.
Yeah, it's where they've been for quite a while now.
Speaking of tournaments and playing, I'll give a quick plug for my own tournament taking place in, I don't know.
The day after Thanksgiving?
Yeah, the 2 days after Thanksgiving. The weekend after Thanksgiving. I was going to say 12 or 11 or 12 days. But yes, so the Saturday after Thanksgiving, all professional divisions, any age or rating or whatever, but all professional divisions plus all advanced divisions will compete on Saturday. And then every other division competes on Sunday that weren't there on Saturday. And some people are double dipping. We've got one guy playing on Saturday, or two guys that are playing both on Saturday and Sunday. You're welcome to do that, of course. But go out and get signed up and come play PDGA C tier. Last year I had it for the AMs as a B tier, so there would be more points earned to support the Madison, Wisconsin AM Worlds attempts for people. But yes, I'll be running the Cold Turkey. It is the 11th year that I'll be running that event, so we would love to see you. We got a good contingency of Illinois. As much of a hard time as we give them on our podcast, they still want to come up and play golf. So it's a great course in southeastern Wisconsin, just over the Illinois-Wisconsin border. And so I had Lisa Warner, who's returning. She's coming from Ohio to play. And I know we have a few women that have already signed up. I think we have 3 pro women, which is better than a lot of events get. And I think they're going to continue to encourage other pro women to keep coming. So next weekend, get signed up. There's a late fee that starts in about a week from now. So if you want to get in on it now at a solid discounted price, make sure you do it in the next few days or in the next week or so. So reach out if you got any questions about that.
That's about it for events. So we don't really have anything more. We've got a couple smaller B tiers, but I don't think anything that merits too much discussion.
Oh, let's talk about give us results for the Rocky Mount. That was an event I attended last year and filmed.
Where is
the other green one? Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Border Wars. Sorry, I totally missed that. You're right.
Yeah,
the Spike Heiser Border Wars Championship and Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
Since we're in November, if I did the math, that's probably
his 40th event.
No, I'd say that's probably about his 75th event this year that Chuck has run. So, we've had him on the show, and he's an amazing guy. But we can recap some of those details real quick.
Yeah, I apologize. I totally overlooked that. So, Open Women, field of 5, taking home cash are 4 of them, tying for third place. Nicole Adden and Aaron Prescott, shooting a 36 over par, taking home $100. Second place, Heather Zimmerman, rated 878, shooting a 23 over par for $300. And winning in this area, no surprise, Elaine King, PDG number 3090, rated 928, shooting 8 over par, and winning $455. So congratulations to Elaine King. Constantly still doing it. How many wins does she have?
2,300.
Close. 220.
220. That's what I meant.
So, yeah. 220
Factored
wins.
by 10.
I mean, that's...
And again, there's an asterisk there.
Because she had wins before the PDGA was really keeping good stats.
Correct.
Starting in like...
They have to continue to backfill the website, basically.
Correct. So that will continue to add up. But I know we had the discussion many weeks ago about who the greatest woman of all time was, and she's still winning in the open field. So, congratulations.
In unrelated news, quickly, we were about 2 holes into the tournament in Phoenix, and walking down the sidewalk, I see a 5-time women's world champion. I'm like, I think she missed her tee off. Wait, no, she's not signed up. Juliana Korver was, in fact, walking down the sidewalk in Phoenix at the event, wasn't playing.
Just there for support?
No. I come to find out she was actually there for a memorial service for a funeral.
Okay.
Ultimately, that's why she was in town. But she did come over and say hi to a number of people. And,
nice.
And I sat and talked to her for a few moments and everything. But it's just kind of funny.
Her being there and not playing.
Yeah, and I'm there, from cross country. It's just kind of funny who you can run into and where. But anyway, go on.
All right, so continuing on with the Spike Heiser Border Wars. In the Open Division, a field of 19, taking 4th place, Nathan Queen, rated 989, shooting a 39 under par for $400. 3rd place, the Dirty Hippie, Michael Joe.
That's his official nickname.
That is his official nickname. I'm
Johnny.
not just calling him that. That's what everybody calls him. PDGA number 20300, rated 1,024, shot 40 under par for $500. Number 2, he doesn't have a great nickname. Chris Dickerson, rated 1023, shooting a 45 under par. He actually tied for 1st place, but ended up with 2nd. So you know what that means.
What?
He shot he for $675 and winning PDGA number 6840.
Originally from Wisconsin, Sheboygan.
Yeah, go Sheboygan. Barry Schultz, another 4-digit PDGA rated player, taking home an open win this weekend, rated 1,034. Again, shooting a 45 under par, tied with Chris Dickerson, taking home $1,000. So we had a lot of 4-digit PDGA open players this weekend in our little ratings announcement and winners. So
yeah, not too crazy. And then if we scroll down a little, he's not quite 4 digits, but the notorious and also decorated Masters winner that I see, in fact, is none other than one of our favorite smashies, Brian Schweberger.
Yep, he won the Masters division for $350. Jeremy Colling at this event, barely taking cash. Bottom cash, 9th place. I was actually scrolling down because I was looking. There was another 4-digit PDGA member, Gregory Williams, 3153. He looked like he DNF'd. So I just happened to notice that. Scroll down, saw Colling.
Okay. Kevin McCoy's out on the board saying it was the supermoon that brought all the older folks out.
Yeah. Well,
the moon looked it looked great the last 2 nights. It also looked, as I was coming over to your house tonight, it looked really good still. So hopefully you guys can go out there and check it out. Robert McCall suggests for a topic on the show that we compare and contrast the best hair products. That's more of an after-show conversation.
Yeah, that's an after-show, Robert. I've got a good one that I really like, but
oh, good. They are lining up.
I know.
I think they're going to be lining up to find out more. I can't say we've said it. There wasn't a ton of news. I wanted to make sure to thank all the amazing sponsors that we had this weekend. But not a ton of stuff going on in the world of disc golf. We didn't see any earth-shattering announcements by any of the
not yet
the tours or the tournament, or the competitors switching things up. So.
I saw Innova released, I don't know if it was this week or last week, a new disc. I'm gonna have to pull it up because I can't exactly remember the name.
SHRYKIE.
The Scythe or something? A Psych.
No
one does that anymore.
No, and that's.
Are you sure?
That's not what it is.
Are you sure? Are you sure no one does that?
Yeah, I'm sure of that too.
Like, do they fake to shake hands?
I almost hesitate to use it because there's so many people that I don't think get the reference anymore. That's how you know it's old.
That's not my problem.
That sucks.
Well,
it sucks if you make a joke and no one has any idea what you're even talking about when you make the joke. As hilarious as it may or may not be.
Well, and it is. Clearly, we know it's hilarious. Actually, I'm not seeing
the Shrike.
The Shrike. Thank you. Yes, it's not. I looked at a PDGA.
Spoiler
announcements, it
alert,
wasn't
there may be one of a kind,
Are you gonna plug yourself again? Here?
unreleased. Yeah, just show up to the Cold Turkey 11. Well, pre-register first. There just may be some stuff in there.
Well, good.
That's amazing. And Phoenix Ruger Redbird, I met him this weekend. Thank you for being such a supporter. Thanks for saying hi and reaching out this weekend. I certainly appreciate it. Oh, one other quick thing I did want to say, and I'll plug a sponsor more so. I posted on Facebook today. I may not be available come Memorial to do the little broadcast thing because with my purchase of a Memorial Jawbreaker Buzz,
Wow, these feel really nice.
I may be eligible to just win myself a spot into the tournament. So rather than this broadcasting stuff, I may get back to
where the money is.
Where the big money is for the old T-Dog and take down some Memorial action. I think they pay like $4,000 for first, so...
Well, I was going to say, do they let you win your spot into the advanced division?
Yes.
Okay, well, there you go.
Wait, what are you trying to say?
Wow, this is the first time I've actually held a Jawbreaker.
So these are Jawbreaker buzzes. And
Candyman Memorial.
I believe there are only 1,500 produced of the Jawbreaker Buzz. And if you purchase one, spinnersonthegreen.com, for every one you purchase, you get a raffle ticket into the Memorial for winning an entry fee.
Cool.
So, of course, the first question I ask, which every cheap disc golfer would be asked, is, does that matter for advanced versus pro entry fees? And they said makes no difference. You win an entry into the Memorial. And I even followed it up and said, well, yeah, great. I realistically am not going to be able to play. And he said, you win the spot. You can transfer it or sell it or do whatever you want with the spot. So what's crazy
that's
is...
why you hold on to the spot, wait for the event to fill up.
Exactly.
Highest bidder.
Ding, ding, ding. These are just $18. And again, with every one that you purchase, they're giving away 4 spots. Nice. Which is awesome.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
Spinnersonthegreen.com. Tell them the disc golf guy sent you. There's 2 different stamps. They have their just the text version, and then they have the Candyman version. And so you could order both. I had to get one of each. I'm like that.
I know you are.
And I had to get one of each. So yeah, pretty sweet. It'd be pretty cool if I won 2 out of the 4 spots.
Can you win more than one?
I would assume you could if you bought more than one disc.
I don't know. I would think that they would limit you to 1.
You would think they wouldn't make it transferable, but they did.
That's true.
Very impressive. So thank you, Keith, and Spinners on the Green. What an amazing thing. Obviously presented by Discraft, but just really cool that for $18 you could potentially, you get a great disc, but then you could potentially win a spot into the Memorial. So, and only 1,500 made. So
that's cool.
Get out there and get them.
All right.
Solid plug. I
so
like that one.
2 years. That's how long we've been doing this crap.
Oh my gosh.
Let's
hang it up.
We've had our run.
We could let somebody else have a spot,
spot in the limelight
spot for a little while.
Do you have anything to give away?
I have something I could give away. The question would be how.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I've got a great item or two that I would be willing to give away. The question is how to do it. I'll have to think about that for a moment because there's some pretty cool stuff we could give away.
Yeah, I was thinking about digging through one of my personal stash and giving something away.
Let's give away that mini basket of yours.
No, that's all right. I'll keep that.
You're such a jerk.
My 5th place advanced trophy for
At the Memorial. Yeah.
No, I'm fine keeping that. Thanks.
You are. How about the Happy New Year hat that I see? We could let that go.
I think that one lights up.
Oh, wow. Then, again, do not let that one
no,
go.
Of course not.
Yes, one of the questions is, do I look at discs more than I throw them? That is certainly the truth. Yes. All right, you think of something, or you think for a moment, or don't think. You talk for a moment while I think about a great giveaway, because I think I have something pretty amazing to give away.
I have literally nothing to talk about.
Oh.
Golf has been secondary to me for the past, 7 years.
We can talk about it more in the after show, but did you or did you not do something non-golf related, taking an activity this weekend? Were you part of that group?
No. Oh, well, we went to a hockey game.
Oh,
A
okay.
bunch of golfers and I who are good friends, and we're in a fantasy football league together and this and that. Went to go see an Admirals game, which is a minor league hockey game. Did that. And that's about it. That's not exciting.
Did any of you guys play golf this weekend?
They all did. They invited me to play on Sunday, but I had plans to go and do some football-related stuff with some high school friends of mine. So
You played no football.
I played no football.
Okay.
Of course
You
not.
say
No, we
football-related
watched.
stuff.
We got together for every year for the past 20 years we've been getting together for at least one game. So now we involve families and all that other good stuff. So yeah, high school friends, 20 years. We're old. Where is Yuli? We don't know. You know what we should do? We should end this, go to the after show. If Yuli comes in, we'll grab him there and
we'll do a giveaway in the after show. That'll keep you coming back.
grab him in the after
And let me
show.
tell you this right now. You want to be paying attention in the after show for this giveaway because it's going to be a good one. This is a good way to celebrate us doing a podcast for 2 years. This is a legitimate giveaway, and you're going to want to stay tuned. There's going to be probably a lot of other nonsense during the actual after show, as always. That's kind of by design. But the giveaway itself, you'll be awfully keen to it. All right.
Clever.
So, everyone, we do want to thank you guys. It has been a really fun 2+ years here. We've got at least 42 more in the queue. And we appreciate your support. We want to make sure that you're taking it in. If you take it in live, there's a little extra bonus stuff here on Tuesday nights. We love the interaction. We love that people actually download it and listen to it throughout their week and enjoy both the regular show and the after show. Surprisingly, we see that those numbers are almost the same, that they're listening to both sets of it, our nonsense and our disc golf speak during the show. So we love all of that. We appreciate it. We look forward to a huge year in terms of broadcasting next year, as well as our podcast that we'll be bringing to you on a more weekly and regular basis. And look for the podcast I'll be working on here in the next few weeks as well. So, well, that's podcast number 119 at the 2+ year mark. That's Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy. Stick around for the after show. We're going to have a free giveaway for some Keen shoes. We'll see you then when you step inside the Smash Box. Dun, dun, dun. Hello, everyone.
Back to episode 119's After Show. I am John Van Derzen. I'm joined to my right by Terry, the disc golf guy, Miller. So, I guess this could have been regular disc golf talk, and if you're listening as an audio person, you might want to watch the YouTube real quick. This was on Reddit right here. For those of you that are at home, I'm going to show something on the screen. And it made me think of you. And a couple other people said, this is something you should get. It's a sweatshirt that says, I'm a disc golf guy, just like a normal guy, except much cooler.
And then did they officially rip off some? That's not quite the Yeti logo, but
no.
Looks like they.
I don't know where this came from. It popped up on Reddit. There was a couple people that said that they would maybe buy one for you or pay you to have one. I kind of laughed thinking that you necessarily wouldn't be caught dead in that. But
I like here. Let me. I got a couple
that
things.
Style.
Well, no, it's not even necessarily that. But let me start with a couple things. And this is maybe because I am a little bit in the. First of all, thank you to anyone that had any notion whatsoever of gifting that or whatever. I appreciate it, but more so. There's a lot of companies out there that are just generic printers of things, and I have personally gone out and been victim of them grabbing them being these companies,
Sure.
these faceless, nameless companies, grabbing logos and graphics, sayings are fine if they're not trademarked, but grabbing things and then just attaching them and throwing them, and then people buy them because they don't really care about any of those things. I recall going to a site just like this is this particular site, Sunfrog. I recall going to a site just like theirs one day, and all of a sudden there was my Disc Golf Guy logo, my like official logo, was being sold on a T-shirt. And of course, I sent them a sweatshirt or a hoodie or whatever it was, and I sent them, a nasty message. I'm like, that's not cool that you're taking my stuff, and they're not even disc golfers. They're just a random printing company. And so, and I've gone round and round for many years about this, and we have a good friend, and I know there's a lot of different printers in the sport of disc golf. We work most closely with Miles Parkhill over at Paragon, and he too, of course, gets frustrated because he sees these are faceless, nameless companies, and it's like, you may have that opportunity to buy that, but if you really like it or there's a really great design out there, talk to someone like Miles and have it done, because you're at least supporting someone you're supporting someone within our industry.
Correct.
But more so, it probably will come in cheaper. Those places are just they're trying to get the grandma or grandpa who are like, oh yeah, little Timmy plays disc golf.
It's my Christmas gift.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so not to go off on a rant or anything, but for that reason they frustrate me. Yeah. I like seeing them, and again, I'm a guy who runs tournaments and I have a lot of things custom printed and made up, so I like to support disc golf companies. I just hate it when some of those companies basically get to bank off of it's just stealing something from someone else all the time, or being just completely nameless and faceless and having nothing to do with golf. If you're going to buy something like that, get it from a disc golf company. But I do appreciate anyone. Somebody had posted on my wall just today, actually, and said, Terry, they tagged me, and it's a picture of a T sign. And this is Pat LePage. Well, I don't know that I've met you personally, Pat. Sorry, but he said there's a little picture of a T sign, and he says Terry Miller designing my area courses ? And he tagged me, and it's on my Facebook. And I said, yeah, that was me. I think I designed that course. That's on the way west side of Wisconsin. I think I probably did that one 6-7 years ago. It's been a while. A little 9-holer, not much land. I tried obviously to make the best course I could without a lot of things. And someone had said something to the effect of being the Terry's. Someone said Terry Miller is the dude, and someone said no, Pat is the dude, Terry is the guy. So there was a clarification, because I go by the disc golf guy.
Yes.
So and then sure enough, a few pictures later on my page, a guy's wearing a hat that says disc golf dude on it. So I'm not I don't want to take his moniker. That's him.
That's him.
So pretty funny. Anyway, was there seriously a conversation about spoilers? Is that what I also saw?
No, people were joking that you were spoiling the PLO. That Reddit was going to have a
okay.
a mark on your head. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get up and wander over to my disc area.
Okay, you do that.
And I'm going to pick out something.
What?
Should I get something like cheap and really old?
I mean, here's my problem. We have stuff to give away. You do, I do. Mm-hmm. The real issue is how and what capacity. Like, what does the contest or the game or the trivia? I think that's the biggest challenge. And then, of course, facilitating it here.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Okay, well, you go wander.
You think of something.
And I'll take a look through some of the other commentary we're seeing. Joe on the board says, you'd be okay with me getting 500 shirts with your logo. What does that say? If I go through Paragon, I think you're mixing a few different concepts there. I'm not sure about that. DGA, Country Disc Golf says, DGA, let me use the basket image they have in my logo, though I'm not selling anything. There again, Miles has said this. A lot of people say this. And I almost went off on a major rant again the other day. Please don't make me go off on just these rants. Come up with an original basket. Quit stealing DGA's basket. Like, it's a beautiful design. It's a beautiful logo. People take a pole, have taken either their basket or the basket with a pole added, and make it their own. pay someone, get a club member, pay Miles at Paragon, pay anybody to give you a unique basket if you're gonna put it into anything. I hate everybody stealing DGA's basket. And sorry I'm not going off on you, Country Disc Golf, especially if you're not selling anything, but get a unique basket. That's something I've always been very proud of. I've had a dozen or so different things with baskets integrated in some capacity. Get a unique one from somewhere. The rant I was about to go off on the other day is I've had enough of the skulls and chains and wings. Sorry, I'm not saying they can't ever be used at any point in any design. I've never used a skull. I've used a wing probably at one point. I maybe have used a chain or something that loosely referenced one. And it's not just about me or my preferences, but I'm going to challenge you guys for originality. Skulls, chains, and wings have all... go to images.google.com and put in disc golf logo, and you will find dozens. I've actually done this work. I don't know where I ever posted it, and found dozens of the exact same thing. Skulls, chains, and wings. Something else, guys. Something else. Put something else on your designs. Contact Skeet Zielinski. Contact anyone. Oh, great. No, Miles. I see Miles saying if you ever want to get Terry, talk about skulls. Anyway, it just... it's not that I'm opposed to those ideas, like conceptually ever, but they've been done a million times, and they're not usually unique at all. But anyway, sorry. Maybe that's just my personal preference rambling here. Throwing chains in with skulls, though. Chains are set. I understand there's just... if you're going to use those, make them unique. And this is just a challenge. This is a challenge to people. I think they all can be done and used well, but you gotta work to make them a little bit more unique than what we've seen, because there's just so many of them. All right, Robert McCall on the board says, I missed the earlier part of the show. Any other live coverage this year? I don't know that there is. I don't think that we have any... I don't know that we have any... we don't have any other live coverage currently lined up. Yeah, that's all I can say to that, is we do not have any lined up. If we got the phone call for the right place and the right time and the right item, we most certainly could. But as of right now, we have not been contracted for any other live broadcast this year.
Apparently, one of the discs I grabbed was worth more money.
It was pretty beat up, so it may or may not have been worth that much. But
it's just old looking. I know
okay.
It's like not beat up at all. But so I grabbed two things out of my personal stash.
Oh my goodness!
The first one is a 2010 Japan Open 159. I got this right at the Japan Open. I'm not even sure. I think it might be
T-Bird.
No, Star B.A.
Banshee?
I think so.
Okay.
And one of my older pieces of plastic, I have a duplicate just like this. It is a first run Discraft XS signed by Scott Stokely.
As an extra straight?
Yeah. I'm going to give these away tonight because I've got another one identical to this. So
Why do you have two of them?
Because he signed two of them for me. There's one hanging up behind this wall. Behind this backdrop. So.
Okay, now the real challenge is, how do you want to give those away?
Well, I know for the Scott Stokely one how I'm going to give it away.
Okay. Are you doing it right now?
I'm going to do it right now.
Watching something?
So.
Will I know the answer?
No, you won't. Well, maybe. It's written right on the disc.
Oh, okay.
What is the meters exactly that he signed his disc with? For when he had the...
He had multiple records.
He had multiple records.
The higher record.
Well, that gives it away.
No, does it?
A little bit. So if you can tell me what the number is on this disc, the meter number on this disc.
And this is all via our
yours.
YouTube.
This is all via the YouTube chat. So if you're on Facebook,
Yep.
you better quick jump over to YouTube chat.
That's what we tell everybody all the time.
So Kevin McCoy, you are wrong.
Again, incorrect.
Yep. So Scott Stokely was the world distance champion, and it has his distance on it. There we go. Ronald Harkey nails it. 211.32 meters. 211.32. Ronald Harkey, you win the Discraft First Run XS Lime Green 170 with Scott Stokely's signature on it.
What?
So
Worth at least 100.
I doubt it.
No, I don't know. Just kidding. I doubt it too.
To
you it is, Ronald. It's worth
it's
at least
worth
100.
100 to you, Ronald. It's worth. So I will find a way, if I have to give that to Terry to get it sent out, probably, because he sends out a lot of stuff. So Ronald Harkey, you can go to smashbox.tv/winners and fill out the form, and I will get that sent to you. So congratulations, Ronald. It's never been thrown. It's literally been sitting in one of my in my storage.
It's got a little extra grip. This is some of the old school original plastic that you see from before there was multiple levels of plastic that was made. And what's really kind of crazy is he signed it on the front, and then you can actually see it slightly seeping through.
Yeah,
bleeding through on the back because it was signed that many years ago. This would have been signed probably in '99.
Yes.
I guess we'd have to double check with the distance and when he had the record, but probably signed in '99. There aren't. It says it's penned 170.
Yeah.
So it would have been after they were likely doing stickers, a stickered version, but it says it's penned at 170. And Frank, you're a little late to the party. It's
CDG says 98.
Okay,
that sounds about right.
98. I said 99. Well, you probably had it signed in 99, though.
If he had the record in 98, I had it signed in 99.
Yeah, because that's when we would have saw him at the Kansas City World Championships, more than likely.
Correct. I'm honestly, I don't even remember where I got this signed, if it was at Kansas City or if it was one of his
clinics or something. It could have. Yeah, I guess it could have been.
I think we went to one of those.
So one of those. So Ronald Harkey, you are officially ineligible for any other prizes tonight, which will probably be two more.
Well, I would say you should be ineligible for any more discs given away. Well, any prizes. I feel bad, though.
I feel bad giving him all our stuff.
That's
Ronald
true.
Harkey's won stuff before, too.
He has. Yep, sorry, Ronald. You're out of luck.
You're out.
Congratulations.
So you got a disc. You're not getting a free pair of shoes tonight. I'll have to think a little bit more how I want to give away the free pair of shoes. And you said you're going to, or you just teasing them? You may give away this band.
Well, I think I want to give that one away on Facebook.
Oh, well, there you go.
Wow. For our audio listeners.
Okay, so.
The people that listen, not for our Facebook watchers.
Okay.
So
okay.
I'm
I was going to say, you're completely contradicting everything we say if you're going to appease to our Facebook watchers right now.
No, this is going to be strictly for a Smashbox. You have to have liked the page, and
you'll do a giveaway that way.
And we'll do a giveaway that way.
Okay, that I like.
Because this way, the audio listeners that are listening this tomorrow morning will get a chance to go to Smashbox, Facebook.com/SmashboxTV, and win this 2010 Japan Open Star Banshee 158.8, officially stamped and weighed at the 2010 Japan Open. So,
Ben Will Lake or Y Lake has set a prize for the furthest away Smashy, and
well, that stinks because that's also the most shipping costs.
That
probably.
Too. But I said that would go to Nathan Lee probably. So I should have said yes, and then said, "All right, Nathan Lee wins something." Ben, I believe. Gosh, where are you, Ben? Yeah, it's not Finland or Norway. New Zealand, if I recall. Is that where you're from? So that may have just backfired on you had I gone through with it.
Yeah, so go out, like the page, and I think maybe what I'll do is have everybody pick a random number between 1 and 10,000. And then I'll do a random number generator, and I'll find the closest one. You get one entry. So I'll put it out on the Facebook page tomorrow for that. So.
And to clarify, someone had asked, what comments are you reading from? SG had asked, and here's another good PSA for you. We will always give top priority and precedence to the YouTube live commentary. We sometimes we're going to be on a Smashbox page on Facebook. It might be on a PDGA page on Facebook or a Pro Tour. It could be in all these other places to interact with us. It could be, but the one that we can pay attention to that's easiest will be the youtube.com/SmashboxTV. That is the commentary, and that goes for our podcast as well as any of our regular broadcasts. So just making sure that you guys always know that. So if you want to interact, we appreciate everyone watching on all of their different medias, platforms and channels and whatnot, and that's great. We love that, but we want we interact with the YouTube one the easiest.
I was just laughing at Nathan Lee because I said, I'll use random.org to get that number, and he says, I hear the PDGA uses random.org when they do the ratings as well.
Hey-o.
Hey.
I don't
So
know
that's
about
pretty
that.
funny.
It should be interesting. Maybe it could have been talked about in a more serious note. Without me looking really at the ratings earlier, I'm curious who the highest rated is. Was there?
I
probably-
would have thought we would have heard had Paul dropped from being the highest rated player. That there would have been.
I don't know. That's something, and that's not a trivia question,
Yep.
but that's definitely something that.
Yeah, I went through my closet and there was a bunch of I have a whole rack of discs that I used to say, well, these are my go-to ones in case I lose anything, but they're all pretty current, and I didn't want to give away something that you could literally just go buy in the store because I've got a whole bunch. And sorry, I wasn't going to give away my stack like this of first run buzzes.
Ooh.
Or a couple comets I have. So I dug through and I figured, you can't get this particular disc anymore, and I didn't want to just give away a Z Comet because you can still get those. So, and that's kind of what my stash is buzzes and comets and a few old Blizzard plastic. So, which I guess old Blizzard plastic is somewhat valuable depending on what it is.
Depending on what it is. Oh, and that's something else we should have talked about earlier. Thank you. Good
Referencing your memory.
Yep. Yesterday we saw Jennifer Allen I think it was yesterday, she had posted that she has her own Jennifer Allen signature
I didn't know that.
style disc.
Okay.
That was ultimately, I believe the artwork was ultimately done by Texas own Maria Oliva. And sure enough, Jen now has her own disc with her own logo on it, commemorating the 568, her world record-setting throw for women's disc golf disc. So she has those, and she's going to be making those available. And you can sign it. She can have them autographed or say whatever you want. But anyway, Jen has announced that. I saw that yesterday, and congratulations to her, of course.
And I'll say this, like I said about Val's disc. Go out and buy one. Go out and support. I mean, buy a whole bunch if you want, but for sure, go and buy one.
I said put me down for 5 for now.
Nice.
I might want more.
But go and support these, not just the women, but all the pros when they get a signature series. Just get one. It's a great way to start a collection. It's a great way to have just something unique. And you never know. You could be like Terry and be a hoarder someday. Have 30 of them, and they could be super valuable at some point.
Super valuable.
But go ahead and support some of the people out there that are trying to make a living, and even if it's not their main source of living, help them out a little bit. So Joby once says Blizzard something. Yeah, I saw a Blizzard Boss, a Blizzard Wraith. I bought one of every Blizzard disc to mess around with it. Some of them have the bubbles in the rim.
Correct.
Some of them have them in the flight plate.
And those are when you get into some of the specifics about the people that really are still going after them. That's exactly what they're looking for, is where the bubbles are located, how many can you see, that kind of thing. So there's definitely a little bit of a market out there for sure. But yes, it was, as Robert says, it was in fact a Star Wraith, which is a disc that I happen to throw as well, that Jen had them made up on. So
that's cool.
Great reason to go out and get yourself a Star Wraith. Buy one to throw, buy one to collect, or a handful of both, whatever it is that you need. Ronald Harkey says he thinks he's bought enough McPro AVRs to pay for Paul's RV.
Oh, that's good. Hopefully maybe someday you'll be able to turn those around and buy your own RV.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
So have you figured out a way to give away what you need?
No, I know. That's what I'm trying to think.
Come on. It can't be that hard.
So many. Yeah, I had one thought, but I feel like the question or the answer is just far too easy for it. No, I'll have to continue to think about that. Because for me, the question is, do I want it based on who Googles the fastest? Because that seems how most of the giveaways are. And I know there's got to be a certain, but you don't want to make it too specific when, I tell someone, what month was my daughter born in? Like, I don't want to make it too personal and specific that you'd really the only way you'd know is by knowing almost too much. Yeah. So that's where I'm kind of torn as to how I want to go about it. There's just,
I don't know, but I'm sure this is a riveting podcast.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I know they can't get enough of it. Do you have anything else worth while to speak of?
After show stuff. I'm all caught up on Westworld, so I'm pretty pumped about that.
Okay,
it's pretty good. The last episode, shocker.
Oh my gosh, don't spoil it for me.
And yesterday I was homesick from work. This is actually me recovering, and I watched the first 4 episodes of Mr. Robot. It's really good. I think you would like it.
I think I brought it up
it's
in queue at one point, and I think I was ready to click on it, and for whatever reason I didn't. But
yeah, I mean, it's really techy, but not like over your head, where they kind of explain, for the most part, you understand what they're doing. It's really good so far. So I'm looking forward to staying homesick another day and watching another 4 or 5 episodes. Yeah, so I'm really pumped about that. I want to go see the movie Arrival. I heard that's really, really good. And that's about it. That's all I've got going on. Someone's asked Lethal Weapon thoughts. I've seen lots of commercials for that series, but not my style. Doesn't really interest me.
Yeah. Is there Lethal Weapon 3 or 4?
I think there's 4 movies. Maybe
that's what I meant. Yeah.
5. I don't know. Gosh. But yeah, Robert says he needs to get season 2 somewhere. I have season 1 and 2 all downloaded, so I'm going to be looking at that. And yeah, so we'll see. So have you come up with an idea yet?
I'll admit, my pal Kevin McCoy has actually sent me what looks to be it could be a legitimate question. What do you think of that question? I'll let you look over my shoulder here. You are ineligible. So and so right now Johnny V and I are discussing whether or not this seems to be an appropriate. Again, I worry there's always that fine line of like who can just Google the fastest. And I don't mind people doing a little bit of research.
It's not going to be a Google so much as
hunt and pecking, trying to find the right spot.
I would say ask, hold on. Yeah, so
wow.
Yeah, that was super secret. But so
okay,
I think that should be your question.
Okay. Here we go.
All right, people, ready for our next giveaway.
And this giveaway, this is a serious one. This is for a free your choice of a pair of free Keen shoes. This is not wimpy little 50% off certificate you've seen everywhere else.
This is the actual full pair of Keens. Your choice, not like one shoe.
Yeah,
you get the pair.
This is a pair of Keen shoes, and of course, this is only made possible thanks to Keen and Keen Footwear, who have been supporting disc golf longer than most of you realize. That Keen has actually been around for a very long time. Obviously, the company has, but them supporting disc golf goes back more than a handful of years now. So they've been very supportive, and every pair of shoes I own, pretty much, except for one pair of dress shoes, is a pair of Keens. All my sandals now, all my other shoes, all my workout shoes, which are still nice and fresh and clean.
So fresh and so clean.
Let me check the boards here for the chaos.
I'm loving the pair that you got me, that Keen supplied for us.
Yes, exactly.
And I've been wearing them when I'm not wearing my dress shoes. It's the pair of tennis shoes I'm wearing. I love them.
And he's got a pair of the
size 14
of the new the disc golf shoe, which I'm trying to think what was named this year, not the Nasu. Anyway,
it's great. I love it.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so I need the name and the player who won an event during this week in the last 10 years that took home a $10,000 paycheck. So the name and the player, or I'm sorry, the name of the event and the winner of it, of said event, who took home a $10,000 paycheck. And the most significant clue was it was during this week in November.
In the past 10 years.
In the past 10 years. So that's going to make you do a little bit of work.
A little bit. That's not just an easy Google one. That's what I kind of like.
Yeah, I do. I appreciate Kevin McCoy's input and Johnny V's.
It would be great if Kevin just answered.
That jerk.
Got himself some Keens.
So, yes, I think I've correctly described it. I know all of you're screaming it if you're watching or listening to our audio-only podcast. You're probably screaming it. But
it is not Will Schusterick, USDGC.
So it is the event name that I need. It is the winner's name that I need. And the hint is it was a $10,000 paycheck, and it happened sometime in the last 10 years during this week in November. Is it a legit only PDGA sanction? That's a good question. Yeah, I feel like it has to be because otherwise it'd be a little too random and maybe hard to find. So I feel like it has to be.
Yeah, Will Schusterick won USDGC, but he never took home the $10,000 prize.
Never took it home.
He had a $12,000 prize.
Yep. I didn't say at least $10,000. I said $10,000. And
Keen is a clue.
What?
Says Robert McCoy.
Says Kevin McCoy.
Sorry.
Robert McCoy.
I was looking at...
Oh, that's a scary mixture.
That is.
Robert McCall and Kevin McCoy mixed.
Well. Not Schultz, 2006. USDGC has always been in October, so you can probably eliminate that one.
Maybe eliminate that one. Some of the guesses coming in just to keep everyone updated. Schultz 2003 has come in. Nico USDGC has come
Ronald
in.
Harkey says, dang it, he knows the answer.
Oh, Ronald.
Ooh.
That's what you get for knowing too much, buddy. LeCastro USDGC. LeCastro 9. I need the name and the name of the winner and the event. The name of the winner and the event. Doss at Piney Woods, Scotty B says completely incorrectly. If you're giving me a one-word answer, you can't possibly win because I need both their name and the event name. So when you say germ, he says big. Oh, he meant big germ USDGC. But so we need the name of the event and the winner of it. 10 years ago, or so. So many good submissions. Some more LeCastro submissions. We got a Nate Dawes submission. We got a McCabe submission.
Yeah, do you think people are right now burning through the PDGA website?
I'm guessing it might be down. Let me go see if
I just checked it. It's up.
What? It's still up somehow?
Somehow it's up.
Okay. So, I'm not are we getting close? I didn't see it.
I see the answer.
All right. It looks
there were some people who were very close, but didn't quite nail it. There was LeCastro Players Cup. There was McCabe Players Cup. There was Doss Players Cup.
What? There was Germ USDGC.
But the correct answer was by one of our favorite Smashies, Robert McCall. Avery Jenkins Players Cup 2006.
That was
exactly 10 years ago. on this very weekend. The Players' Cup was run by Steve Dodge. Am I correct in that?
Nope.
That. What did he run?
Michael Barnett. He ran
Barnett.
what became the Players' Cup.
He ran what became
in a
the
different
Players' Cup.
version.
This particular one was run by Michael Barnett, though. Okay. So, yes. So, congratulations, Robert McCall.
Well, then Robert says, I can pass the shoes along if need be. You don't need to. Do you want to? I don't.
If Robert, if you want to pass the shoes along, it's going to go to the next person, which is Charlie Lambert. So it's up to Robert. If Robert wants them, he can have them.
I would think he would want
these. They're nice shoes. I mean,
and they can be any shoes.
Any shoes you want.
If you want to go out and get your wife a pair of shoes.
Oh, there you go. You could
so
buy
she could run away from you fast.
You could buy her a nice pair of shoes and look like a hero. Be like, oh, I just thought of you, honey.
Sorry, Joe B1. You could use a pair. Everybody could use a free pair of Keen. So again, this is all thanks to Keen and their support of Smashbox TV specifically. They worked with us this year on a number of things, and we certainly appreciate them doing just that. Oh, there he says. The wife would love a free pair of shoes. So, Robert, tomorrow I should be able to get you the certificate. Actually, it's gotten pretty simple. I can just give you a little passcode, and you should be able to enter it on and get your free shoes that way.
Now, that one took a while, too, as it should.
Good, and I like that. That was a solid. Thank you for the question there, Mr.
McCoy, nailing that.
Yeah, Mr. McCoy giving us a great question there to use. So, thank you. All right, now we're going to give away 10 Will Schusterick Prodigy discs. Will doesn't know this, so just contact
Just reach out to Will.
Okay. Hey, Will, I won some discs. Yuli did say earlier in the day that he was going to give away a Yuli hat, but then he's disappeared, and we haven't heard from him.
We can talk about that real quick. Yuli opened up his Yuli store.
Yes, he did.
And he's obviously looking to sell some branded clothing and hats, discs, things of that nature. So if you get a chance, go to, I believe it's yulistore.com.
It's
so brilliant.
As it gets.
And take a look at that. We'll have him on next week to talk about it. And maybe then next week he'll give away the hat.
Yes, he has a number of hats available. I'm looking at them right now.
Flex fit, snapback.
Yeah, so all available and out there. That's, as Johnny said, Yuli's store. Or Yuli
Store.
Yeah, Yuli Store.
ULISTORE.com.
And that will get you to it. And I know he was really excited. He put out a little great intro video. I don't know if you saw that the other day, the intro video.
I did. He actually, so funny story, he made a post out on Facebook, and I, being who I am, was probably the very first person to see it, clicked on it, and nothing happened. So I messaged him. I said, hey, your link's broke.
Yep.
And he's like, oh crap, what do I do? Because he had linked the video from his Google Drive.
Yep.
And
okay.
he put the wrong.
I saw that too.
He put the wrong link out there, so I had to find out what the right link was, and then he had to reshare the link. So he was like, "Oh, thanks, Johnny, appreciate that." So he kind of messed up the thing, but it was really cool. It's a really nice commercial.
Yep.
No one's going to work harder than Yuli.
No, I've told people that they're not going to work harder. That was also came to mind. So yes, and seeing him this weekend, he was doing some caddy duties. I saw Anthony Barella rolling around on a bike this weekend, taking it easy as his mom was out there playing and his dad was out caddying, I believe. So good seeing some love over in the Arizona area. I had no less than a dozen people ask me, and I take this as a compliment. They said, "When are you coming? Are you coming back? Are you going to come back and film in Maricopa in January?" Wow. And I told everyone the same answer. I will, if there is a media budget that aligns with my media budget, or at least close, I would love to. So for what that's worth, I'll be talking to Dave Felberg from Latitude 64 and see if the Next Generation Tour is going to in fact be kicking off there again or not next year. But yeah, it's a lot of Arizona love, and we really appreciate it. A lot of people had compliments, mainly from me, not so much you. No, I'm just kidding. No, but we had a lot of Smashbox love out there, and we appreciate all of you guys.
We definitely do.
From Arizona and beyond. We certainly do. So thank you guys. I don't have too much more. I gave away a free pair of Keens tonight. We gave away a disc. You're going to give away another disc.
We give away a disc tomorrow on the Facebooks.
We made a plug or two regarding some of the thanks out there this weekend.
Sponsors.
So thank you to Discraft and Spinners on the Green and Mike Cousins and these sweet baskets.
I talked about what I watched or did this past weekend,
Mm-hmm.
I saw that you made some disparaging posts about
Never.
Frontier
Oh
Airlines.
my gosh.
You want a quick
Real
share?
quick, yeah, just they suck. Unless they want to be a sponsor. But
There goes our sponsorship with
no,
Frontier.
they just. I logged in on Sunday from Duke's. Sunday they sent me an email, say, "Hey, you need to check in for your Monday flight." I said, "Yeah, great." And I logged in, and I wanted to add my. Oh, they made a big announcement, by the way. Oh, as of September 26, 2016, we're part of the TSA pre-program. Oh, cool! Just 5 years late. Like.
Whatever.
Finally, they
That
so
probably
they get on board.
That probably cost them money somehow or something.
It probably cost them, and I had the same argument about Spirit back when I came home from the Beaver State Fling, and they too. I got in line, and the guy was like, "Yeah, no, you get in regular." I'm like, "No, I'm TSA pre," and they're like, "Yeah, no, Spirit doesn't do that." And then I badgered every single security guard and Spirit employee. Why the F would you not be part of this program? And there's probably some back-end data management that needs to get addressed for it.
It could be.
To add that one number to your account and then have it print out.
I don't know. They might have to pay the federal government something for the TSA access and the database and whatever. But
anyway, so I tried logging in. I tried adding my traveler ID number. It was a pain. It wouldn't let me. Then I downloaded the app. There it wouldn't let me. And then the app says, yeah, it won't let you add this number. Go ahead and call customer service. Here's the number. I call customer service. They say, okay, what's your early rewards number or whatever? I give them that. And he goes, okay, let me transfer you. I'm like, really? You clearly have my account in front of you, but whatever. Let me transfer you. Transfers me. 6 rings later. Yeah, this department's closed. We closed a half hour ago, blah, blah, blah. You just transferred me
to a closed department.
To a closed department on a Sunday, which is closed at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. or whatever in the first place. Then I got there the next day, and they just suck. I'm sorry. You fly the cheapest airlines. I do. I'm disc golf rich, and I'm trying to be on a budget everywhere I can. I've never been impressed with a few of the other more expensive airlines anyway, but I love Southwest.
Southwest just works.
It just works for me. So yeah, Frontier. So I thought my post was actually kind of funny. The first one that you probably saw, it was a tweet. I don't know why I take all my complaints to Twitter because I don't use that medium too often too many other times. But I said, hey, Frontier, I have a great suggestion for a new app feature, which is next time I try to book anything with you, please block me and melt my phone or something like that. I don't ever want to fly Frontier again. Ugh.
Yep.
Oh, we could talk riots. That's
no. There's someone in our chat board named Hillary Clinton.
Oh, really? She's here
talking about.
That's nice.
Some liberal riots. And we're not. If you want to talk about political stuff, you can do it on Facebook. I think they like to talk about it there.
You could.
Reddit, I think, has a couple of really nice threads if you want to discuss this.
Those are probably pretty civil, though.
Yeah, everything is civil online. Twitter, I bet Twitter you could discuss some politics if you really wanted to.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm so good with you protesting. I'm so good with you showing your amendments and keeping your amendments and freedom of speech and all that stuff. Don't stand in a gosh damn highway.
I can agree with that. Just stay out of the highways.
Stay off the highways. And I'd say the streets.
You're making
too.
more enemies than friends.
Stay off the damn highway. Like, seriously, people. I think that should be almost politics aside. Stay off the damn highway.
You should get like a fine or something, a ticket.
I can't be on the highway walking around. If I went out onto I-94 alone right now and just started walking, they would probably cite me or at least make me get off the highway. But 500 people can walk around on a highway and they're not doing anything. And I'm not even the whole hands off and all that. I understand, various ways to deal with riots. But for God's sakes, people, stay off The highway.
Yeah, Joe B1 says it's illegal to be on the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so-
of course it is.
And then
Can't ride your bike on the highway?
I got to ride my bike on a highway once.
Well, not legally. Well, unless you were
Totally
unless you
legal.
were doing like a run walk.
Nope.
Or when it opened.
There you go.
Yes.
Highway
441.
Where we grew up, they built a brand new highway, Highway 441.
Bypass, yep.
It was a bypass. It was a week before it opened. We went from where I used to live down to Oktoberfest, and there was a bunch of people that got to walk and drive and ride their bike on the highway, which was a lot of fun.
Yes. Okay. Well, it wasn't legally open to.
Yeah.
It wasn't open to
It wasn't
vehicle
open to traffic.
yet.
Correct.
So, and again, you guys everybody can argue all day long about the presidency and all that stuff. I'm not even getting into that. I'm
Nope.
just saying, stay
Like I
off
said,
the damn highway, people. It so does not make any sense to me. Protests make sense. Riots don't. Protests make sense. Standing in the damn highway does not make sense.
Not at all.
Anyway, Travis says, speaking of crappy Frontier, his words, not mine, ever heard of the Frontier Communications phone internet? Probably unconnected, but reason why it's tough to even follow y'all sometimes.
Yeah, Travis, I'm familiar with Frontier Communications. My office has one account with Frontier, which we inherited from a company we purchased, and it will be going away in 3 weeks as I eliminate that particular vendor of ours. Because you're right, Frontier, crud, garbage. Everything named Frontier. Let's just say that. Everything we know named Frontier stinks.
Okay. Well, I guess we could go along with that.
I can't think of anything that's great named Frontier.
Well, there used to be, the Frontier Airlines here. Was that not related
I think it's
to the
same.
new Frontier? I
think they're related.
rebranded, I guess I think is what it is. But, yeah, certainly nothing impressive. Didn't enjoy that. So by tomorrow morning, again, you should see I'm going to put out probably 2 videos when it's all said and done. I'm going to put out a video of the final 9 holes that we saw from the pro women, and then also kind of a more generic highlight reel that's going to be put out.
Sure.
And I don't even want to use the term highlight. It's just going to be, trying to show as many shots as possible. I tried to get around to as many different competitors I could. I'm sure I did not record a shot from literally all 80 women that played out there on Saturday, but I tried to get as many as I could. And I got to say, I got in late, really late Friday night, grabbed a quick little nap there, power nap, and was up early. I was like, man, what? I'm not used to getting up, especially after staying up late. I'm not used to getting up like with the players meeting these days, because normally we're filming events, and usually action's not till the afternoon.
Yeah.
For these big tea time events, and I was up really early. It was very long. I was thinking about you on Saturday night when I got back to the room and I laid down.
Where is this going?
Yeah, and I almost posted something about like Dukes tonight, or any golfers around for Dukes, because I was at the hotel across the street from Dukes.
Sure.
And I almost posted that, and I thought, I got to get showered. I'm going to go over there and have a beverage and grab something to eat. I fell asleep on my bed at like 9 o'clock or 9:30, and I was like, I'll set my alarm, and maybe I just need a little nap. Hour later, rolled around, and I was like, nah, I'm not going anywhere.
Staying put.
That is not like me.
No, it's usually not.
But it's a good weekend out there in Arizona. So thanks to all the peeps out there, and Chris Cobb, and then Keith Murray put me up on Sunday night. I appreciate it, Keith. We had a really super good chat. Some of the things we talked tonight, your Brad Hammocks and your Ron Russell conversations, it was fun. For those who don't know, Keith
shared hair products.
Yeah, we did talk about that. No, we didn't. But Keith of Spinners on the Green and of the Memorial, he used to work at Discraft.
Correct.
And so obviously he's got tons of history and tons of knowledge and insight and whatnot before he moved out here. That was a little over 10 years ago. So it was really good. It's fun when you can reminisce with someone like that who you don't see that often, but you can talk about yesterdecade of all the things that we see. And hey, shocker, this is a little pro tip for everyone. Disc golf, BS, drama, and politics are everywhere. So little
It's
heads up.
It's not just your city. It's not just your club. It's everywhere.
It is everywhere. It's officially confirmed, coast to coast. It is, in fact, everywhere. So, Smashbox will be at the Disc Golf Pro Tour in Utah. That is currently the plan. We're working with Steve Dodge to hopefully be at every Disc Golf Pro Tour stop next year. That's what's in the works. We got to iron some details and rob some banks, but that's what's in the works, is for us to try and be there.
For sure.
You and Johnny should watch our first show. Yeah, that would be funny.
Should watch the first show. Oh, the first.
I don't know if he meant our show, but we should. That would be funny.
Not tonight.
No, not tonight. But that would be funny.
I want to save that. I relish that. That's 2 years ago. Isn't long enough for me to go back and look at that.
No.
I'll go back after like 4 or 5.
Larry asks, what are those tourneys you've been sitting on? Get them done. Not much coming out now. We need some. Of course you do, Larry. And just when I need to take a break, I can't. I have a little bit of Am World stuff hidden, tucked away somewhere. I've got 1 or 2 things that could maybe be made out of Wisconsin events that took place. Nantucket is next on the list. Originally, when we talked with Nantucket, really the plan was just to be live there. That kind of evolved into recording other things and being live. And then that was obviously at the end of the Pro Tour and everything else. So there was so much chaos. And we had worked it out with them ahead of time. I knew that I wouldn't be able to get on that right away. So Nantucket is next in the queue. There's a couple different items that would be released from that. But Nantucket is next in the queue for sure.
Cool.
And that's probably about it. No, I got more. I don't know.
There's always more.
There's always more, but I'd like to go out and get more. All right, guys. Well, I think we can call it. It's been a great night. It's been a little over 2 years. We've given away lots of good stuff.
Yep.
In the past, and then a free pair of shoes, a sweet Discraft XS first run. Is it a first run?
Yeah, it's the first
yeah,
run.
right there. Wow, we got
run.
fancy.
First run.
First
XS.
run with Scott Stokely's signature with that 211.32 meters. What is that in feet now?
I don't know. Let's not figure it out.
I want to look. 211.332 meters to feet is exactly 693 feet, folks. That was now it's double.
Not exactly, but 693.307. Yeah,
it's essentially doubled.
It's essentially doubled in 15 years.
Crazy.
God, longer than that. 18 years, 17 years.
Yeah.
That's an old disc. Cool.
Older than some of your underwear out there, guys.
Older than some of the people who've been on our show.
Yes, that's true.
This disc is almost as old as Eagle.
It might be even older, actually. Very well could be. All right, guys, we appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Thanks for sticking around for the after show. This was number 119. We'll see you next week for the 120th iteration of our silly little show. For Johnny V and Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, we'll see you next week when you step inside the Smash Box.